Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Good Morning Source Gaming. We're going to be talking about E3 today. I have Nantenjex and Colin with me, and like always, I'm going to unmute and they're going to blast me with sound. Oh, hello, hi, welcome to the stream. You're on the wrong audio channel. I need to fix that really quick. Oh no.
We're already off to a bad start.
Okay, you're on the right audio channel now. Welcome to the stream.
There we go. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Hello. So unlike last time, because we're not doing a video that we're rebranding as a actual video afterwards, the return of Colin's favorite section is now. We can talk about what we've been playing before we talk about E3.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, nothing this week. I just
It's like, I've had my fill of video games. I'm just watching them, just taking in the adverts. I don't need to play them.
Soul Bad Guy is more likely than Scorpion because Mortal Kombat is not sold in Japan. So there you go.
It'd be fun to get a Scorpion Mii costume though. Get a Scorpion Mii costume, Soul Bad Guy, and I guess if you could Ryu Hayabusa Cat as dead or alive.
No, but I mean they could just include a Ryu Hayabusa costume.
I mean, yeah, like I'm just thinking to get all the key fighting games in there.
I don't mean
Kasumi would probably be, and she has a Smash safe design now, so
yeah, Dead or Alive 6-1.
Yeah.
I don't mean to call anyone out, but I
Yes.
saw a Twitter account a few days ago that was like predicting the next Smash characters with math.
Yes.
And it's basically our shtick, like the rate that character thing, except it's based on some algorithm, I guess.
No, I think I know
Some-
what account you're talking about. So, Backseat, who's another YouTuber, who's I think he's been on. I've definitely been in a stream with him. He's a great guy. He made a bunch of joke videos called "Trying to Predict the Smash Roster with Math," basically,
Okay.
where he did stuff like broke it down by what region it's from, gender, etc., for the fighter pass. And I think they use his algorithm.
Huh.
So it's someone aping that bit?
Yeah,
Is what you're
basically,
saying?
they made a
Okay.
Twitter account to just cover all the characters using his algorithm. Although, I mean, his algorithm worked for like the first few, I think. Like, I think up to Sephiroth, and then Pyro and Mithra completely trashed it.
Wait,
I was- 'cause
really?
I was-
He got everyone up to Sephiroth?
Well, he didn't predict the specifics, but they did fit in within the maths itself. Like,
Huh.
Min Min was a fiddly one. I think there was one thing slightly wrong, but it was like within the like give or take of what it should be. But Steve and Sephiroth fit quite nicely.
Yeah.
And then Pyro and Mithra just didn't at all.
Because I was seeing like a bunch of people pair it as like, oh, Doom Guy's chances are up, let's go. And then like I looked at the actual like list, and it's just a bunch of characters with like random percentages next to their name,
Huh.
and like on the like number 10 on the list was Jason Voorhees, and I was dumbfounded.
What?
Maybe it's a different one, or it's not updated. Because I know when Steve came out, like there was only one space in the math for one Western character. So when Steve happened, that was it. Like Doom Guy's chances were gone.
Yeah, but Jason
etc.
Voorhees has a 0 chance, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
That's probably maybe just a Twitter account.
Yeah. That's quite sus.
The videos are worth watching because they're quite funny. And the latest one is just a massive shit post where he's like, well, I've added some new variables, like how many fingers characters have and how many pieces of clothing they're wearing. And according to the
sure
math, each character can only wear one piece of clothing.
I'm sure backseat
right,
stuff is
Kazuya.
good.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's good.
Yeah.
Because when I checked on the Twitter profile, it wasn't tied to like any specific like channel or anything. It just seemed like it was some random grifter.
Yeah, I think it was.
Steve does count as Western, yes.
Yeah, he wasn't made in Japan, so
Made in Sweden.
yeah. basically
But-
what Western counts as.
Oh, fellas, what have we been playing this week? It was-
Yeah.
if I don't get my satisfaction, I'll cry.
Why
I
don't you
was
start then? I know you
playing-
said you didn't play anything, but you were
Yeah, I
mentioning
didn't
one game
play
you
not a
wanted
single
to.
thing.
Do you
No,
have anything to talk about?
I do. I have something to talk about that was in the direct.
Oh.
Because after the direct, Bethesda reached out to me. They shot me an email and they said, "Hey, would you like to cover the Doom Eternal DLC for Switch?"
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I said, "Hell yeah!" That was all me, baby. They didn't have to. That's a really cool feeling, which is
Yeah.
like the polar opposite of when they were like, "Yeah, you're getting a Doom Eternal code," and then I had to like keep chasing them for like a day and a half. Because the person that was supposed to send me the code didn't email me.
That's the complete opposite of us dealing with most major companies. Actually,
I know, right?
Yes.
Like they usually don't reach out to us.
I think it's because like in the interim I've sent them stuff like, oh yeah, here's like the Doom all content we did or whatever. I think they actually like. I think companies actually like stuff like that. I don't know if they watch them.
Yeah, they might do. I mean, from experience, they want to keep track of all of the stuff they get, but with games, with how many people they probably reach out to, they probably don't have time to look it for them themselves. So if we're just
Yeah.
saving them time by sending them stuff.
But
Yeah,
I've been
there's
playing,
probably some social media person watching them.
but I've been
Yeah.
playing the Ancient Gods Part 1 on the Switch, which I've played before on PC, like all of Doom Eternal. I played it on PC and now I'm playing it again on Switch. But whereas when I was just playing Doom Eternal on Switch for that review, and I was like, yeah, this game really is like a 10 out of 10 perfect masterpiece, like, and I was just breezing through it. The Ancient Gods Part 1 kinda is like, it kinda made me realize how much of a slog it is. I know the Doom community, or at least the new Doom community, loves to parrot the idea that Doom Eternal is like the hardest video game to have ever been made, and that it's like a real true challenge to all gamers. And if you're a weakling, you're never gonna beat Doom Eternal, even though it's like one of the most forgiving, like hard video games ever made, and also like its really good difficulty curve is what makes the base game great. But the DLC just feels like it doesn't really feel like a challenge. It just felt like, all right, well, how do we up the ante? So they were like, well, let's take all the maps, we'll make them longer, but we'll make each arena smaller, and then we'll just put like more stuff in it. It's basically like every encounter is like one of those Slayer gates.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends up like to say it's like hard is like not wouldn't really be descriptive, because it isn't really like tough as it is more of just like an endurance test. At that point it's like, oh, how long can you keep up this nonsense?
Oh.
Which when you've beaten the campaign twice like I have, it's more like it's like, man, this one encounter is taking fucking forever to get through. Like, I remember in the pre-release material, they were like, yo, in the first level, there's going to be an encounter with 2 marauders. And everyone was like, oh, that's going to be so challenging. And then you're like, oh, it's like a longer marauder fight. It's really not. It's just the pacing of the DLC is like really bad. It just feels really slow. It's still good because it's Doom Eternal, and it's Doom Eternal's the best video game ever. But I don't know. I'm not. I feel like if I wanted to play Doom Eternal but harder, I would just prefer like God damn, I want them to put more of the master levels in the game. Like on the Switch version, there's still only 2. It's like, do the whole campaign, guys. Come on. I want more of that. But expect a review of that sooner than later.
Okay.
Speaking of reviews and small rooms with a lot of enemies in them and a bullshit difficulty, Nanten and I have been playing the same thing.
Yep.
So,
Good old Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. Oh god.
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. Hey. So, I believe we're both still on Sigma. We're playing the Ninja
Yeah.
Gaiden Master Collection. I think we're both playing on PC.
Yep, I think so.
Despite the stink made about that port and how weird it is that you have to set the resolution through launch options, it runs perfectly fine for me. I tried all 3 games just to make sure there was no disaster port in there, and all of them just run like butter, so they didn't mess that up. At least.
Yeah, I guess that's the PC version must be fine on that. I've only tried the first one, and I haven't had a problem with the resolution. It weirdly pops up like in window mode, but if I click on it, it'll go to full screen, and then it's fine.
Oh yeah,
the
that's
weird
normal.
thing I've got is that to exit the game, that you can't press the X in the top corner. I have to go into the menu and then go down to quit and all that.
Yeah,
nonsense.
you can't Alt F4 either. I've been closing it through Steam by pressing the stop button.
See, I just don't bother bringing Steam up. I've got it as a desktop icon to save myself time.
That's fair.
But
yeah.
Yeah, I've personally not found it as hard as people said it was going to be. At least, well, the last thing I did was I had my first fight with the Red Demons, or whatever the hell they're called, the Fiends. And forget those guys. That was just complete nonsense. The second.
Yeah, that's where it begins. So I hope you're ready for that.
Oh, great! Because everything before that's been pretty alright.
Yeah.
Interestingly, this game gives me like first Devil May Cry vibes a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of exploration and like very light, simple puzzle solving. I think the problem is that when they throw like new mechanics at you, they don't tell you. You just experience something breaking the pre-established rules that you were taught, and then you just got to be like, okay, I guess this is how it works now. Because like you're taught at the beginning that you should defend against attacks, and then the first boss teaches you, yeah, but don't passively defend. Don't just like hold that button down. We don't want you to do that. We will mess you up if you do that. And so enemies just start like having these moves where they can break you out of your defense and get like a quarter of your health off. It's crazy, and it's like, okay, well I gotta parry now, but the parry timing window is weird in this game. It's a bit like restricting. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have the timing right. I'm still playing. I'm still trying to find my way. The big thing about Ninja Gaiden is that it does the same thing that the first Devil May Cry does, where it makes you really feel like you're in the same mindset as the character you're playing as. The first Devil May Cry like incentivized you taunting, flaunting against your enemies, all that made you feel like the flamboyant Dante, whereas Ninja Gaiden, you have to be very calm and cool and collected, and you have to you can't lose your patience, you can't lose your temper, you have to keep your cool, otherwise you will die.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is don't DSP it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, which is usually my go-to strat. So this is it's been a thing playing this game. Although like I really can't stand the motorbike guys. Those they wind me up so far.
Oh
but
god.
I haven't found a reason to use the other weapons other than the 2 swords.
Okay, so the dual swords were added in Sigma, and they are broken. They make the game a lot easier using them. Like they're the most the dual swords are the most powerful weapons in the game, and they for some reason give them to you in the 3rd level. So you're basically like set for the entire rest of the game if you just use those.
Okay, so that explains it then, because they have been like ridiculously overpowered compared to everything else. And I thought
Yeah.
maybe that was just because I've been like upgrading them, unlike anything else.
No, that's Sigma. Sigma makes a few weird balancing changes and makes the game a lot easier. The original Xbox version is a lot harder than Sigma is. And maybe that's where like the dissonance with difficulty is coming from, because I've actually seen quite a few people play Sigma for the first time and be like, yeah, this isn't as hard as everybody says, and
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah, because you're playing Sigma. uh,
So you both are playing on PC, right?
yes.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah, I'm playing on
situation.
Steam.
Yeah. I've
Mhm.
The I naturally assumed that the Switch port would be a disaster, so I asked for a PC code instead.
I mean, I'm generally hearing that like 1 and 3 are fine.
um,
I've heard like 1 has basically like next to no
yeah,
issues. It's just
Yeah, I've
2.
I've heard that as well. One
one
is
seems to
fine across
have
all
no
the board.
problems because it is still at its heart like an original Xbox game. It just has like higher resolution textures and stuff due to the PS3 version and all that. Um, and like the lighting isn't as intense as the following games. Um, Sigma 2 having a lot of trouble makes a lot of sense to me because that game is a weird ass port. And 3, I guarantee the people saying 3 is fine have not gotten past the third level. Because that's where
Okay.
the Wii U version starts to chug like real hard, like for the entire rest of the journey. It's just slow motion from there on out because game speed is tied to frame rate.
Oh, oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess I'll go back to playing it on my Vita.
So the thing about that, I was told that Koei Tecmo's lost the source code like partially for the Sigma games, which is
Great,
why
great stuff.
they've launched in the weird state that they are, and why even though there's content from the Vita version of Sigma 2 in there, the reinstated like decapitation, blood effects, and all that are nowhere to be seen because they completely lost those.
That's
Uh,
insane.
and
God
that's
damn
kind of nuts. It's nuts that they both like overwrote the original Ninja Gaiden for Xbox and the original Ninja Gaiden 2, um, and then lost the code, the final code for the things that they overwrote them with.
Yeah, that's really silly.
10 out of 10. Well done.
Yeah.
Konami.
We'll be giving updates, I guess, depending on how long it takes for us to get through the Master Collection, because I'm
Yeah.
assuming we're both going all the way through it. I have to go all the way through it. I'm reviewing it, so
Yeah. I'll be
um
playing at least one. I might take a break between 2 and 3.
yeah, that's fair. I got to Sigma 2. Um
Mhm.
I mean, I tried Sigma 2. I'm still on Sigma 1. I tried out Sigma 2 to make sure the port was okay, and it runs fine, but there is this crazy input delay, and apparently that's a result of the Vita version,
Okay.
and I'm not sure why they can't fix that. I hope they fix it, because like I saw today that they did actually put out an update for the Xbox One version of the game. So they're actually like considering doing patches for this thing, and I hope they fix that in particular because it makes Sigma 2 on the collection really really difficult to play. Good luck with Ninja Gaiden 3. You see, I don't hate Ninja Gaiden 3 as much as most people do. At least Razor's Edge. I think it's a mess, and like pretty much every enemy type other than the ones from past games and the regular like foot soldier dudes are a pain in the neck and very boring to fight. But like when you're actually fighting like the old enemies or the foot soldiers. That game has like the best feeling combat in the series, which is weird for me to say because it's a lot less considered and the level design is really awful. So it just seems like I get people's gripes with that game because it's a mess. And like Razor's Edge, it was a very, very sloppy attempt to save the game because it's horribly unbalanced and it actually does make the game bullshit hard at times. But the actual core combat is really, really enjoyable. So that just makes me sad because the core combat is really, really good, but it doesn't have like the game to support that core combat. And I wish it did. I wish it did.
Yeah, I remember like Ninja Gaiden 3 on the Wii U being like fine, but just after a while just got like really like monotonous.
Yeah, so like they
that
managed to salvage the first 3 or 4 levels of that game. And that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Boy.
Man, the Wii U launch was weird.
Tekken Tag 2 and Ninja Gaiden, Nintendo Land, and New Super Mario
Black
Brothers.
Ops 2, baby.
Oh yeah, Black Ops 2.
Tank.
Yeah, I
Oh yeah.
Can't wait for that Fatal Frame port by Koei Tecmo, you guys. It's gonna be great.
I'm hoping it's fine. I'm gonna, because that's gonna be my chance to actually play Fatal Frame. So I gotta hope it's bad. It's good. Even.
I gotta acknowledge this in the chat really quick, just to dispel it. So like, Conker has a 0% chance of ever being in Smash.
Oh yeah.
In case you're not aware, because most people aren't, Nintendo like wanted nothing to do with that game. They did not publish it. It was self-published. So it doesn't have that like, oh, it's a Nintendo darling from like Banjo because, you know, Nintendo published and promoted Banjo. Conker doesn't have any of that. They didn't want that game to exist.
Yeah. Like Nintendo, maybe back when it very, very, very first started development and it was just a regular 3D platformer, they might have.
They were behind 12 Tales Conker.
Yeah. Nintendo didn't publish Conker in any region, and the Conker series didn't even end up in Japan.
Yeah,
whereas at least like Perfect Dark, Rare self-published in the West, but Nintendo published it in Japan, which is this fun fact that I sort of discovered. Right, so in Melee, you have the is it the proximity mine? I think.
Yes.
And it's based on the James Bond one, the GoldenEye proximity mine.
Yep, it's based on the GoldenEye one.
Yeah, in Japan, it's based on the Perfect Dark one instead. And
that would make
the
sense.
reason for that is because in Japan, Nintendo published Perfect Dark, whereas they didn't publish it worldwide. So they own stuff from Perfect Dark, but can only be used in Japan.
I see.
So when they were bringing it over to the West, they couldn't use the Perfect Dark thing anymore, so they changed it back to the GoldenEye one, which they do own the rights to, despite it being James Bond. They can't mention that it's from GoldenEye, but they can use the design of it.
Data classified. Yeah, so like Conker would never have even been able to come out in Japan. Not with how graphic it is. That shit would be slapped with a Z.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's impossible, Traveller of the Stars, but unlikely is still underselling how little of a chance Conker has.
Conker's in the same camp as Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, pretty much. Mortal Kombat has a better chance than Conker does. Because at least Mortal Kombat is still relevant and around.
I would say, yeah. And also, weren't like the earlier games around in Japan?
Yeah, it's only a recent thing.
Yeah, when they started making very, very graphic gore violence, the new games.
Yeah. So the other game I've been playing is not really a game. It's Hyrule Warriors DLC, the new one that just came out.
Ah,
And
I heard a little bit about that. So, the nunchucks, the new nunchaku.
yeah,
My friend was telling me the way they work is that they grab other weapons, and then those weapons eventually break, and then you have to get new weapons.
yeah. So the nunchuck, the nunchuck has its own sort of move set, which is all right. Although the weird heavy attack is like a Kamehameha, like Hadouken blast. That's a bit shit.
Okay.
But its main gimmick is yeah, you can steal weapons from opponents, and you can steal either great swords, boomerangs, spears, or clubs
Huh.
slash hammers, and
Uh,
then
s-
you can use those attacks, and those attacks
like,
automatically cause an opponent's uh weakness wheel or whatever it's called
uh-huh.
to appear. So, like, if
Okay.
you pull off a heavy attack of that, they will always get stunned unless they're like a big boss character, and then you can just wail on them from that. But it works on a certain amount of hits. So once you've hit them a certain amount of times, it'll break, and you have to
Yeah.
wait for your little meter to
Okay.
recharge before you can steal another weapon. The nunchuck are okay.
That's
I've been using them a lot.
it's
The
quite something that they decided to integrate the thing that most people don't like from Breath of the Wild
yeah,
into the action game that's weapon based.
yeah. It's a bit strange, but it's in there and it works. Each one, like at least the club and the spear are probably the two best because the club stuns people and the spear doesn't stun people, but it can basically always brings up the weakness wheel. And
uh,
it's got a really long range because Link basically throws one nunchuck and then that nunchuck then throws the spear,
ah,
so you can hit people from super far away. But
okay.
my problem with the way that they've handled the weapons in this game with the DLC is that you have to unlock the DLC
Uh,
through
uh,
Pura and Robbie's
or
like lab.
you don't just get
No,
it.
you don't just get it.
You have to
You
unlock
unlock.
it after paying for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So you unlock the
Oh,
lab, and then it's through there. So you unlock the nunchuck pretty quickly. But like, I've only just unlocked the motorbike, like right before we got on this stream, and then the Guardian is the last thing you unlock by doing everything else in these Pura and Robbie missions.
is the
And
motorbike just for Zelda, or can everyone use it?
no, the motorbike's just for Zelda, and I've only used it for one level, but it's easily better than the nunchucks. The motorbike is such a funny item to use.
Yeah.
It's like gimmick is just overdrive, where you basically just get
hmm.
nitro and just plow
I
through everything.
I generally feel like the Warriors movesets that are just like constantly moving things like mounts and vehicles like that
Hmm.
are some of the most fun because
Yeah,
you can't stop. You can't stop. You
yeah,
got to keep
it
going.
is.
You got to keep
But
mowing
like,
down.
I've had to use the nunchuck, but what's really irritated me about them is like all these new missions you get are usually around like the level 70, high 70s, mid 80s mark. And then a couple of really random like level 50 missions. Like there's one where you have to escort Pura and Robbie through Farron Woods and just fight there. But when you get the weapons, like the nunchucks, they start off at like the lowest possible damage they could be. And you
Hmm.
don't get any nunchucks or anything from dropped enemies. At least I haven't got a
I
single
see.
dropped nunchuck. So you just have to upgrade them either by doing more missions for Pura and Robbie or by just fusing them with other weapons you've got. And the problem that I've had with this is that some of the missions it wants you to do are like defeat 1,000 enemies with the nunchucks.
Hmm.
But Link, despite the fact that my Link is like level 85, the nunchucks are super weak, and so missions just take forever because
No.
enemies just go down, take forever to go down, and there's only like 100 enemies per mission sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I definitely felt
it's just
that.
like a grind to get the
Um
nunchuck up to anywhere
with every
satisfactory.
new character, they would always start with the lowest possible power on their weapon. And it generally felt like I couldn't really expand my arsenal without like grinding real hard. And I totally see that happening with the DLC too.
Yeah, like at least with the motorbike, I've been able to get like 300 kills in like the first mission I did it in. And like that just seems to be a bit more. That might have been because it was the training mission for the motorbike,
In
but it seems like the game just wants you to grind lower level missions rather than do the new ones to
I
get
see.
that, which is just silly.
That's quite boring.
Yeah, which is
Uh,
why I haven't been doing it. But it means missions have taken me like 20 minutes when they probably could have taken me 10 if I was using like the Master Sword or something.
so the way other Warriors games work is that usually when you take a character into a stage, you get a whole lot of weapons for them just by playing that stage because you pick them up from
Yeah.
enemies being beaten, and you pick them up from just like random drops in the level. Uh, it feels like with Age of Calamity that's like way less viable than before because Age of Calamity's weapons have a designated attack stat that goes extremely high, and it's a lot less viable to fuse the weapons you get than just like pray and hope that you get one that's already very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that is basically it. At least like if you do end up getting one that is stronger than what you fuse, you can transfer all the levels from the fused one over to the new one, which is
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, like even if I do a mission as Link and I get 4 or 5 items for him, that it's never the actual nunchuck itself. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a pain in the bum. But so far, I mean, I
yeah, that's
enjoyed
right.
Hyrule Warriors, so I'm still enjoying this. And there are a bunch of new missions, and the new enemy types are just essentially stronger, more designed versions of the existing enemies. But it's better than nothing. Like you fight giant choo-choos, or which and they have new moves like the giant choo-choos, and they like roll at you like big boulders. Or you get these moblins that carry bombs on their back and they like kick bombs at you
Okay.
and stuff like that. And then you get stronger versions of the Wizrobes where it's no longer just waiting to throw bombs at them. You have to use other Sheikah slates to actually deal with them. And they're all right. They're called vicious enemies and vicious monsters or whatever, and you have to kill a lot of them to get through the Purah and Robbie stuff.
Okay.
But it's fine so far, but it has been a bit of a grind. I want to use more of the motorbike though to get so I can like prefer that weapon, I guess, because it seems to be a lot funner to use than the nunchuck.
Did they improve the frame rate?
I mean, no.
Yeah, it's quite
enough.
sad that they haven't patched that because this game was rushed out to release. It was meant to come out this year, not last year. And it's quite strange that they haven't fixed the performance yet. Maybe they'll do it after the DLC is over, which would be a strange decision, but that's also what they did with the original game. So, well, the actual Breath of the Wild. It's not the same developers, so I can't say they did that with the original game, but whatever. You get it. You get it.
Should we move on to E3? Should we talk about
Sure,
E3?
sure.
Should
Yeah,
we talk
let's
about
Um,
whatever
let's
the
talk
fuck that
about
was?
E3. So I guess overall impressions first from E3 this year.
Let's go back to last year, man. Let's
not do this again.
let's not do this again. Yeah, let's not have. I don't know, man. It's like we got a few comments on the last Good Morning Source Gaming that really ping us as somehow not being fans of video games and being completely apathetic towards these 2-hour long video game advertising hype streams. And the thing is, right, is like it's either the fact that there hasn't we haven't had one in a while that's maybe like finally getting us to realize like, yeah, this formula sucks. And like it's not good, and I liked, and it's not because like, but I hate the video games, I hate Square Enix. It's just like It's just that the shows are bad because the pacing is awful. And whereas last year everything was nice and spread out so that you could, watch a show and then continue with your day. It's like we're getting to the point where, I mean, like, what was it on Sunday this year? It was like Microsoft, Square, and then like the fucking like PC gaming show and future game show, and it's like 7 hours of just like video game announcements, and it's like you can't, like, nothing can stand out because you're just being bombarded with just like game after game after game after game after commercial after announcement. And of course there's also just like the general like subjective nature of like, oh, certain games like it, certain, like certain games I like, certain games I don't like, because that everyone's just gonna bitch about everything anyway. I don't know, man. It's just like, it's too tiring.
I think some people genuinely took our last video the wrong way. I saw a comment saying that we were not making actual predictions, and that's quite far from the truth. We did make jokes, but very few of those jokes actually ended up on the cards that we put our predictions through.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone can say I wasn't making predictions when like half the things I put on the first board ended up being right.
Yeah, when Colin actually talks about Smash Brothers and makes like character predictions for Smash Brothers, he's taking it seriously.
Yeah, I that was completely serious. That was not a bit. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked what happened last year. I mean, obviously a fucking plague had to happen for us to get to that, which is really unfortunate, and I'm not a fan of like genocide, but
Ooh.
I'm not at all, I don't like it. But it's never been a fan, I give it a 2 on Metacritic. But honestly, I really wish like cuz like, here's a hot take. I thought PC Gaming Show this year was actually good. But the problem is I watched the fucking Microsoft show and the Square Enix show that by the time the PC Gaming Show was going on, I couldn't focus anymore. I couldn't like pay attention. My ADHD was kicking in, and I couldn't like. It's too much. Go back to like Twitter reveals. Go back to like IGN gets a weekend for themselves.
Yeah, it was quite a lot. I didn't even bother watching the PC game show because I mean, time wise they were always really late for me anyway. But I was kind of done on that day, especially after Square Enix's
PC Gaming Show happened after Square Enix, and I felt obligated to watch Square Enix so I could say I never asked for this. And I did get to say I never asked for this several times during that show. And like because that show just like drained everything out of me, I was just like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna work on my video and then go to sleep. Bye. I had no energy to actually watch the fucking PC game show, which if they were actually genuinely good this year, that's a shame.
Well, I think the main reason being is that there's also way too many fucking shows now. Like every company has to have a conference, which is fine. Like I don't hate the idea of like Capcom having their own stream.
Yeah,
but my friend Caleb made a really good point on a different stream where he was saying like it would be better if we went back to like what E3 was in 2009, where all of these big companies just put their games in the shows anyway. Like PlayStation leaving E3 was such a terrible thing in the long run, because like it was just like the PlayStation shows were just, all just like the Xbox show. They were mostly third-party announcements too. And my friend Caleb was saying, like, it like something like FF Origin would have been, I guess, like people wouldn't have been like shit on Square so much if FF Origin was just like an Xbox announcement. So then everyone would have been like, "Oh, remember that weird Final Fantasy thing in the Xbox show? What was that about?" Anyway, Halo looked cool. Like, it's different when you have to isolate all these different games, and then you're just kind of sitting there watching this drivel.
Yeah. It didn't help Final Fantasy Origins very much that rumors got people, imagining that it was something else in their heads. And then also Square's presentation was just so much exposure to Marvel that it drained everybody. And then the one time they showed Final Fantasy before then, they literally did it for like 30 seconds and said nothing.
Yeah. It was so
and then
funny.
Went back to Marvel.
It
made
was
them seem
so
like they really
funny.
Didn't care.
The Square Enix show is one of the most tone deaf shows I've ever sat through. Because not only did they spend so long on the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which looks a lot better than the Avengers game, whatever. It's not my cup of tea, and I'm very sad that the people that like revived Deus Ex and made this really like creative and artistic like interesting looking game is now just making an MCU light game. It feels like a waste of talent. But like then they showed like 30 seconds of what most people were actually at the Square show for, and then they like I don't remember the order, but then they immediately went back into the Western stuff that
they went
people,
like
people just complained about.
Strange.
Yeah, they went into Life is Strange first.
Well, they did Marvel first. I'm pretty sure.
No, they did.
I remember. No,
Marvel
they did.
first?
It went Final Fantasy for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Then it was Legends of Mana or whatever for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Then it was Marvel. Then they did their mobile games. Then they did Life is Strange.
Yeah,
I remember because I
yeah.
made the joke that the intern had accidentally pressed the Final Fantasy button and they panicked and threw Marvel back on instead.
Yeah. When the Avengers showcase started, my entire Discord call started fucking laughing, just howling. Because they are so tone deaf. I get that they spent a lot of money on this game and that they need to advertise the new expansions so people will play it again. But like, when your game has less players than fucking Deus Ex Mankind Divided, you should rethink some things.
Yeah, I think that presentation would have been better if they had paced it better. I think spending literally half of it on Guardians of the Galaxy was just made everything else so much worse. Like, if Guardians was just the one trailer and a dev interview, and then they'd spent like a bit longer on Final Fantasy and then gone back to Marvel, I don't think as many people would care. It's the fact that they spent so little time on Marvel.
we needed more scenes of the guy really angry talking about chaos. And don't get me wrong, chat. I think the Guardians game looks good. It's probably like way better than Marvel's Avengers. It looks like it'd be more my cup of tea if it wasn't so creatively bankrupt. From what I've seen, like there's a lot of talented people working on that game, but it feels like studio mandated. You have to make it exactly like the MCU, and that is boring. I've seen the MCU Guardians films. I would rather something else.
Can we talk about how in the last stream I said something that was like 50% right, but like not necessarily right, and how I said like, oh yeah, Square will show off a collection, but it won't be what you want. And like it's funny because it's like, oh no, they actually did show Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and it's like Steam and mobile. What?
Yeah.
Also, the sprites are like
So-
really low quality. They're like really like washed out. They don't look very good.
I'm just
I,
like,
I think they look better than the mobile one, and I'll take that at this point. Like
I
I
mean,
can deal. I can
yeah,
deal with the
that's a low
fun.
bar to pass.
I heard a good theory that they're trying to make it look like what it would have looked like on a CRT back in the
yeah, no,
day.
that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I get the sentiment. I think I'd rather have that than a CRT filter because I've never been a big fan of those.
I just
But I mean, yeah, the sprites aren't as good as the originals.
I just don't get it. I don't get. First off, this stuff is like clearly in development early enough that like they didn't, it's like the Sonic Origins thing. Like, yeah, it's coming.
Mhm.
Like, it's early enough that they could have just lied and said it was coming to console anyway, because I'm sure it will. I'm sure
Yeah.
in time these Final Fantasy games 1 through 6 will, because it's mainly console players who have been asking for this. Like, no one on PC cares about getting like the Final Fantasy games again, because you can just like emulate it, like whatever at that point. Like, it really is at this point. It's like, how is this not on Switch? How is this not on PlayStation? How is this not on Xbox?
I almost feel like they want to release them on Steam and mobile individually, and then they'll do a collection on consoles. But because they want people to buy them individually, that's what they're doing this first. Like, so people will buy them all, and then they'll drop a collection once enough time has passed. And that will be what's for consoles.
That really sucks.
I mean, it does, but like,
That really
totally.
Yeah,
sucks,
you're
man.
probably right. You're probably
yeah,
right.
you're right, but it sucks.
That FF Origin game, it smells of isekai to me.
It is an isekai. They confirmed that. I'm pretty sure.
They did. I mean,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
I said I think it's an isekai, and I'm pretty sure it's an isekai because they're wearing like trainers and shit.
Yeah, I think it was confirmed that it's an isekai.
Isekai, more like
I'm gonna need
Nanabai.
to I'm gonna need to look into that, because like I don't think there was an official confirmation.
No,
I thought I heard
I-
something, but I've just let it leave my mind because I'm not really bothered about that game.
It's fine. It looks like Neo. It's made by the Team Ninja guys. They're not making Ninja Gaiden 4, unfortunately. They're making Chaos Killer 5000. And I see what they're doing with Origin, and I think it's cool. I think the class system, from what I've seen of it, is like neat. It's just like, man, nobody asked for this. The whole of Square Enix's presentation, aside from like the 4 Marvel's Avengers fans and like the other like people who actually really wanted a Guardians of the Galaxy game, and the Life is Strange fans in the corner over there. Nobody asked for anything that was in that presentation. It's just,
For the record, I think Life is Strange is actually pretty good. I think they did a reasonable amount of time in that presentation for Life is Strange. It did make me laugh that the Nintendo then basically just summed the whole thing up anyway on their own presentation.
It's really funny that Nintendo, that they're bringing 1, the spin-off of 1 and 3 to Switch, but ignoring 2 and its spin-off.
Yeah, I don't know why they're ignoring that. Which one's the spin-off of 1 that they're bringing over?
The game Before the Storm, I think that's what it's called.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually about the girl whose name I forgot. Oh no.
Yeah, the blue-haired girl, whatever.
Yeah, her.
Ashley Birch.
Yeah, Ashley Birch. But no,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah, I
she's
forgot
not.
about
She
that
doesn't.
game,
She
yeah.
doesn't play that character in
that game.
in the prequel spinoff because of like a voice actor strike. But
right.
like they did like interviews about that game, and I remember this specifically saying that she like specifically coached the new actress who was replacing her for that game, and it's just like, if you're going to go on strike, why would you do that?
'Cause money is cool.
Yeah, it's a bit. It kind of goes against the whole point of the strike, but
I
Oh,
don't
well.
I don't think the Life is Strange games are gonna be cloud because they're not very intensive. Look, like they're not
No,
very intensive games. They're very basic looking games. They don't really they deliberately like made the third one, the new one, look really cheapo and bad because that's what the other games looked like.
yeah, like the first one could absolutely run on Switch. I mean, maybe that's why the second one's not coming to Switch, or because I don't know. Maybe that one's slightly more.
I don't know.
Graphically intensive, I don't
I think
know.
people didn't like the second one, and also like it had male protagonists, which is not the demographic for the series.
I liked what I played of the second one, but I never finished it. Unlike the first game,
Uh,
I don't think I'll pick up the
uh,
third game though.
I played the first game. I was kind of forced to play the first game, and I didn't like it very much.
I mean, yeah,
Like
I played it with someone else who was.
yeah,
into it.
I did play it with somebody else who was into it, and like the more I look back on it, the more I realize, man, that game has a lot of problems.
Yeah, but oh, I mean, for the Life is Strange fans, I think that one was fine.
I just want to say about the Square Enix presentation that so we called No Kingdom Hearts,
Yeah.
and people were like really confused about our bingo card because we weren't very clear about it. We put a no sign, a no entry sign over Sora, and people thought it was Smash, even though it was clearly not the Nintendo bingo card.
Yeah, I didn't have the Smash logo like all the
yeah.
other Smash predictions.
So then I clarified it by putting no KH, no Kingdom Hearts. And somebody was responding to me and saying, "Yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts will actually be there because they're doing a DMCA free show, and Kingdom Hearts usually gets some streamers in trouble." And I'm just like, "There's no fucking way they're not putting like licensed music over the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. That's the MCU thing. There's no way they're not doing that." And it
Yeah.
turns out I was completely right because they played the Shrek soundtrack. Like, there is no way that those two songs got into the Guardians like promotional material or even the game if they're in the game without the people who making it like watching Shrek 1 and 2. Those two songs together, that's too much of a coincidence.
Can we talk about that DMCA free stream and how like they completely fucked up the audio and then just gave up when Nier came on, basically?
Yeah. So like the DMCA free stream was like, I guess, music they owned or like royalty free music, whatever stuff they licensed, played over it. But for Nier, even though they probably should have the rights to play Nier music, they the whole stream was just muted.
Yeah.
for the tiny portion that Nier mobile game, which was also one of the only things people cared about from that show, was on.
It was so because we had one friend watching the DMCA one and then the rest of us were watching the regular one, and it was just reporting to us like all of the bullshit that was happening with the audio in that stream. Because at one point they played, I guess, the replacement track over the top of an actual track that was in the stream.
Yeah.
Just fucked all that up.
Just a mess. Just a mess. Rivers is saying the remastered collection and True Colors have related characters, while 2 is completely separate about Life is Strange, and that makes sense then if they're actually like reconnecting it to 1 because people didn't like 2. Yeah. So like,
shall we move on from Square, by the way? Because
I gotta
minor.
I gotta do one last thing.
Okay.
They ask where was Nier for the Switch. I hope you're not talking about Automata because that game already does not run very well. It's a resource hog. There's like memory leakage. Unless they did a cloud version, which you do not want. That game will not run on the Switch as we have it now.
I thought we were starting at 11.
What?
No. When have we ever started at 11?
11?
I don't know. Maybe it's just something I think
Yeah,
myself because I want to see until.
We've
till
never
then,
started
I just
at
convinced myself.
Sometimes we start at 11, but that's usually when we're like one of us who actually hosts it is really tired and needs more sleep.
Okay.
Hello,
It's
Spazzy. Welcome
rarity,
to the stream.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just finishing up the Square Enix portion of it.
Oh, good. I didn't miss anything.
So like I'm just gonna take 2 minutes to glance over the Capcom presentation because I'm genuinely not sure why they were there. They did say everything they would be talking about beforehand, so good on them for that. They didn't set any expectations like too high because it's your fault if you actually got your hopes up because they literally told you that there was nothing there. So it's entirely on me for expecting Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, I think that was the same for like everybody. Like
the
I know
only
they told us before, but I just felt like they had to have something new, right? And they literally didn't.
They did. They had one announcement, and it was fucking RE8 DLC.
Yeah, I was kind of right.
Yeah, that's true. They gave something for Reverse, and I guess for Monster Hunter Rise, they actually showed off what the collab stuff would be because they only like previously said, "Oh yeah, we're doing collab with Monster Hunter Stories," but they didn't show any of it. So there was some new stuff there, but there were no new games there.
Nothing that they didn't say was going to be there.
Yeah.
Oh, Rivers, you missed me. That's sweet. I had to take a break from anything really because I was in a super big funk, and I'm glad to be back. I'm glad people are happy that I'm back.
So we already discussed Xbox Bethesda, right?
No, we haven't. We literally for some reason we
started with Square probably because like it's low key and we have less to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I literally missed nothing. Okay.
Yeah, saving Microsoft and Nintendo for last.
Because they were the only like really like
E3 presentation.
Good shows.
Yeah.
Like so like the Ubisoft one is like harmless. It was harmless. It was like nothing.
No.
It's a solid C.
There was no
Before we get to
Zoom
Ubisoft.
Just Dance.
Oh shit, no.
It was
F.
garbage.
F.
Hang on.
Absolute failure.
Okay, Colin?
Go on,
Before we
Colin.
get to Ubisoft, because someone asked, so I'm gonna bring up the Devolver stream.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
because
that too.
someone asked about that. Listen, Devolver, let's have a chat. The first 2 conferences you did, sublime. Big fan. Really liked those. Every subsequent one completely misses the mark.
Oof.
I don't know. I like at this point, like it feels so passé. It almost feels like watching episodes of like the Gymquisition, where it's just like, yes,
they're a little too into their own narrative.
It's not even that. It's just like it's very basic. Like, haha, all these corporations want your money, and it's like, yeah, I know. it's like they're at this point they're not really saying anything new. It's just like whatever flavor of the year thing they want to dock on this time. Because last year it was what, the Nintendo Directs, and this year it's like Game Pass. It's like it's like.
To be fair, this is kind of always what they were supposed to be, but like they accidentally got games to show during their presentations.
Yeah.
They were always meant to just be parodies, but then they got like stuff to show, and so now their parodies being a little banal gets in the way of like stuff that they want to show, and so it feels a lot more painful than it should.
It feels a lot more painful because they're like making fun of all of these like super corporate hype live streams while doing their own.
That's the joke.
Yeah,
and it's like,
do
you remember that time? Do you remember that
memeable
time
moments.
they actually sold cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
Like they joked about it and then they actually sold it. That was
I
kind of
did
funny.
not realize that they sold that. I
I
mean,
liked
there
I
were
liked
some
the
good
first
things
one where
in it.
there was barely like any announcements. I think they showed like 2 seconds of
Was
Travis
la-
Strikes Again,
was last
or
year
Oh
the
like
yeah,
one where
that
they
was so bizarre.
was last year the one where they had the bit where they're talking about overhyped games and how it's all about the
yeah.
hype and not. See, that was a really good moment. I like that one from last year's a
Yeah.
lot.
There's
I think
there's
they
good
always have good
moments.
moments. The one
They
where
have good moments,
the
but it's
one where
because
the
it's like
actual CEO in the big golden room and all of that,
Yeah.
and she's walking.
it's
I thought that was a really fun moment, especially just how
no,
like she
here's
doesn't react to anything that's happening.
what I'm saying is like I don't disagree with it. What I'm saying is that it feels so passé because it's like very lukewarm takes. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, of course I agree. Like no one's gonna disagree. But it doesn't feel like new or fresh when they also turn around and then go buy our smirch. Which that's what they did this year. It is incredible. I because the one takeaway of this entire show of the developer conference was they announced that they were releasing a game called Demon Throttle, which is a NES kind of Gunsmoke inspired game. It
Ooh,
looks
that's
good.
It does look good. And that's the problem.
However, it is physical only for the Nintendo Switch. They teamed up with Super Reserve Games, I believe, and basically, the way you buy this game is there is an open pre-order from now until October, and then the pre-order closes, and then you wait a year for the game to actually release, and that's it. By that point, you can't buy the game. You can't buy the game once the game is out. It won't be on the eShop. This is fucking awful, and I hate it.
that's terrible. That's the physical media meme like taken to its most
Yeah.
absurd
I
conclusion.
have to ask for all the people who genuinely think that when they buy a limited run release or something like that, and with the idea that well, I actually own the game.
Oh, by the way,
Are
how
we
cringe was the in the limited games run presentation they did where somebody like dug up a physical release of a game like it was supposed to be
Oh
hundreds of
yeah,
years in the
these
future.
last forever. Yeah.
Yeah. And sorry, go on.
Yeah.
But
Go on, Colin.
but like if you truly believe like owning a game is like oh I really own this piece of plastic, then like are we really at the point where like we have to start paying like upfront the full cost of a video game a year before it releases? Like how much of a mindless consumer do you have to be that the only way
Mhm.
to buy and play this game is to pay the full asking price of the game a year before you get it? It doesn't even have a date. It just says 2022.
Yeah, it's funny, like kind of related to that. I see some people be like, "Oh God, we don't need reviewers. We're past the need for reviewers." And I'm all like, "Okay, fair. You know, you can shit on game journalists because let's be fair, a lot of game journalists deserve to be shit on. However, if you're the same people that are fanboys for a particular developer or publisher or console maker that are buying games day one, and if there are no advanced reviews for that, you're buying that game based solely on your fanboyism and faith in a developer and what that developer is telling you about how good that game is. Anyone can make a trailer for a game look good. Like how is that a better solution than having somebody that's supposed to be non-partial? And yeah, maybe that's okay. This is supposed to be non-partial, play a game and give you their opinion. Like if not, then you're just literally on day one buying like, no, I'm gonna buy Resident Evil 6 because I love Resident Evil so much. You know?
And I just it's such like
So, like, I found the weirdest thing about that was the outside context of the fact that that we had the Super Rare Games debacle
within
where
the
they
same
basically announced the
weekend.
exact same thing, like
Yeah.
literally like a day before, and everyone obviously dogged on it because they hadn't thought it through very well, and now
Yeah,
they've come back and made a correction that's at least better and means it's going to be available digitally, at least on some platforms.
It's actually
But,
really
like,
weird because the two companies also have very similar names because
yeah, I know.
it's Special Reserve Games that's doing Demon Throttle, but it's Super Rare Games that's doing the Super Rare Shorts.
It's bizarrely, like, I didn't realize how many of these sorts of companies there were out there. Like, I know Super Rare Games because they're basically the British equivalent of limited run games, but I didn't know there were Super Reserve Games out there as
And
well.
I'm not against physical releases. In fact, I think more games should have physical releases. I just don't think they should be bullshit limited releases of those.
Yeah, like if they were physical
we need-
only, but they were always available, I would be okay with it. It's the
Here's
fact
the
that they're
deal:
not
we need
available
to
after a
we
certain
we
time.
really do need to take a step back. We really do need to take a step back and realize that, like, I like physical games, you know, like I think at its core, as much of as I've bitched about limited run games and stuff, like they're collector's items, you know, like if a developer really just wants to do like a short physical run for a game because some people want it and they can't push a full run, fair, fine, yeah, sure, whatever, at like a super basic level, yeah, whatever. But don't do this fucking malarkey where acting like oh well we actually care about. That's the thing that really irks me, is when Super Rare and Special Reserve say the shit like the physical only is actually good for the developer, and it's like, is it? Like, is it? Because it costs more to do these things. I guess these companies are doing it for them, so it's like no, you know, it's no skin off the developers' backs. But it's like,
So I think
like
in the case
how
of
is this any better than just like doing both? Like, why
that's the
wouldn't
thing,
you just want to put the game on the fucking eShop?
like I think at least in Super Rare's case, I think the benefit to the dev was that, you know, they're getting funding for their game, which is basically just saying, oh yeah, we'll fund these games on the condition that they're physical only. The fact that they're physical only actually doesn't matter to the devs at all. It's just Super Rare Games' terms for being willing to fork out the money to fund the games, and that's how they're sort of justifying it, by being like, well, if they didn't agree to it being physical only, then we wouldn't fund the games, and therefore the games wouldn't get made, sort of thing. It's a very weird sort of thought process. I don't know about Super Reserve Games though, because I've never really heard of them. I don't know what their justification is.
I don't know if I'd agree with no one would care about Demon Throttle if this wasn't happening. It's made by the Gato Roboto devs. Like, Gato Roboto is a good game.
Yeah, but I mean that was a good trailer. That was the thing. Like when
the game looks good.
It still sits in my head that the demon kissed my wife. Like,
That's
quote
like
at the start was great.
That's the reason why this sucks so bad, is because I actually like that little like I saw the footage of Demon Throttle during the Devolver show, and I was like, that's badass. And then I saw the physical only thing, and I went, that's bullshit. Like that sucks.
At the end of the day, that means less people will be able to play this game. That's all that means.
Yeah, really. It only means the people who are willing to spend $30 to $40 a year in advance will play it.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, like, I'm sure most of those people are doing it because it has a number attached to it, and Super Reserve, you know, they're doing the limited run thing where everything's a trading card, everything's collectible, money. Please give us money, buy our smirch.
Yeah, everybody was. I got added at on Twitter a couple times with the physical release for the Castlevania collection from Limited Run.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I already own that digitally, man.
Yeah,
plus, you want to know something? I own all those games physically, but for, you know, their actual console. So why am I gonna buy? Why am I gonna buy that if I can already play it digitally? I don't know. I like I said, and I'm all about games being available physically for a variety of reasons. But
It's actually really funny because I think Limited Run actually did a good thing this year. Where they announced that they were remastering Plumbers Don't Wear Ties for PS4 and PC and Nintendo Switch. Now, don't get me wrong. That game is the fucking worst.
I feel pain.
It is the worst thing ever. But I'm more for the idea of I'm more for the idea that like of Limited Run using their money to actually go like, you know what, let's actually preserve games by bringing them to newer platforms. Because that's actually how you preserve a game. It's by making it playable, not by putting it on a piece of fucking plastic that you sell on eBay for a few $100s when some guy could just go on a shady Russian website and download it anyway. It's like it is letting that game continue on in many ways. And that's what I've been saying about stuff like the PSN store. It's not like the PSN store shuttering is not a fault of the digital ecosystem. It's the fact that Sony doesn't want to bring any of those games to the PS4 or the PS5.
Honestly, just to briefly touch upon limited run games, I know that their ending thing was cringy as all hell, especially because physical media doesn't last forever, so it's not even true. But I actually think they had a decent presentation. Like all of their announcements were actually pretty cool. Like Way Forward were there like a ridiculous amount. But
Yeah, they had a bunch of
the Shantae collection, New River City Girls. They're bringing that Blood Rain game they made for mobile ages ago to consoles now. Like I actually think limited run games had a pretty good presentation overall, which is just really bizarre because I expected it to be bad.
It's a good show, and I'll buy none of it, but it was a good show.
I'll buy the digital versions.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just buy it digitally.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Way
Forward had a really good E3 this year.
I think it's funny that Blood Rain Betrayal as a sub-series now. I think there's like 2 or 3 games that are Metroidvanias, and it's the only way that franchise exists at all. When it was like this 3D action game back in the day.
3D action game feels like the cheapest sort of 3D action game, if I remember right.
Yeah, Blood Rain wasn't.
The thing about Blood Rain was that it was like a spin-off, a spiritual spin-off of a horror game, and it used like kind of similar combat and similar engines, so it didn't feel quite right. Which, you know, there's a lot of action games that somehow started from horror games, you know. I never thought about that.
Fight back against.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Blood Rain came out in the early 2000s, which was the same time as Underworld. Mm-hmm. So it really, I feel like, tried to do the same sort of vibe as Underworld, where it
definitely has an Underworld vibe.
How much? Someone in chat asked, how much do I have to pledge to Patreon to hold a public debate with Colin about limited run and consumerism? Is that really a public debate, or is that just like a soapbox? Because, like, I'll stand on a soapbox and say my shitty opinions that the comments will get mad at regardless, but...
We have, like, a 30-minute video every week that's just Colin's soapbox. That's just shit people will be mad at you for.
It's really funny, because that's been, like, a show I've been trying to start for, like, 4 years, is Colin's soapbox.
There is a Patreon tier, I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, that lets you, where if you pledge to it, you can appear on podcasts and stuff, so I guess it would be that one.
It'll be like...
It would be great if we had, you know what, there we go. There we go, Nan. That's our new Patreon exclusive, is Colin's soapbox.
It's kind of like the Jimquisition.
It's kind of like the Jimquisition, except I say things that... the comments don't agree with.
For $20, you can join us on podcast or video.
Is it 20? Okay.
Presuming that you sound all right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you not agree with my stance on limited run and
Do you
and
want to
all
talk
of
to him
this?
directly? Ooh.
Oh no,
Oh.
I want to speak to the manager.
Ooh.
$20 then. There you go. There's the answer to
$20
that.
to argue with
$20.
Colin.
$20 to argue with Colin.
I just want to point out that I have digital games on my original Xbox hard drive that still works. So, like,
All right,
oh no, and I
fellas.
have PS1 games that are broken because the disc broke.
Fellas, we need to move. We need to move.
Yeah, we do need to move on.
forward.
Yeah, we need to move forward.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything really to say about Ubisoft other than a casual
Sports
Mario
game looks
Rabbids
cool.
was good?
Riders
Sports game looks
Republic.
cool.
Riders looks cool. Yeah, Riders, is
Riders
the best
Republic
thing.
looks cool. Yeah.
The best
Yeah, it's the
announcement
best thing
from
in
it
that
was
PlayStation.
also in the Nintendo Direct. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, Mario and Rabbids was really cool to see, but that was sort of ruined by leaks and stuff a little bit. I mean, I kind of like the how it's like a weird turn-based strategy game now. But yeah.
Oh my God, Colin, can we please just have a series now where random people from that watch our streams from the internet
Just argue with us.
just argue with you in particular.
Oh my
I
god.
think.
You know, if you guys, if you donate to our Patreon, if you give us money, if you buy our smerch, you get access to the Patreon chat in our Discord, which has a Patreon voice chat.
Yes.
And we'll just chat in there. Like, it doesn't have to be a stream.
But it's more exciting if it's a stream, Colin.
It is more exciting if it's a stream. I absolutely agree. But
we do have smirch. I don't think
we do have smirch.
We haven't been plugging that as hard as we should.
We have a shirt.
Yep. It's been dispatched.
Yeah,
So
I got an email
so-
that mine was being shipped like 2 days ago.
Yeah, so it's on its way for those who have bought it, and there's a link to it. I should probably include a link to it now in all of the YouTube descriptions, and not just on the website.
Yeah, add it to our
Make
automatic description.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that to add that in.
All right, so
Anyway,
Microsoft.
Oh, Microsoft. Yeah,
Yes.
Microsoft was alright. It's like I came out of it thinking, yeah, that was a decent presentation, but I honestly can't think of much that was announced during it other than here's footage of Halo, here's footage of Starfield, here's Forza 5. Yeah, here's Captain Jack Sparrow in Sea of Thieves.
That was
Like, it
really,
seemed a
really
big
weird.
blur. I'm a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan, at least the originals. So I kind of like that addition to Sea of Thieves. Like, the more I see of Sea of Thieves, the funner I think it looks. I just have nobody to play it with, so I don't
wonder
feel
if
like
it's the
playing
guy
it.
from Kingdom Hearts doing his Johnny Depp thing again.
Probably
Yeah.
Johnny Depp impersonator.
Yes.
I've never played Sea of Thieves. Just the Johnny Depp thing.
Yeah, I just like the idea of a pirate MMO.
Yeah, like, and well, that's not true. I played Sea of Thieves 2 years before it came out at E3, but like,
Okay.
how are you supposed to experience an MMO like at E3? They had to sit at different like computer stations, and everyone was all like, "Hooray! I'm rigging the mast." Woo!
Hurrah!
Um,
It's not necessarily the right environment.
has anybody here like actually sat down and played the game? It doesn't seem like a very. Maybe if I had enough friends that were really into it, I could see it being fun. But I don't know.
Everyone who I've heard has played it has really enjoyed it. But like with all MMOs, I think you can't play it on your own, and especially in this one because you've got to be a pirate crew together. So you really have to play it with other people. If you can, then it's a good time. But if you can't, well, then there's no point in playing it.
Yeah,
I think that's the big problem.
You're just a pirate without a ship, which just,
pirate without a crew, without a way.
Yeah, kind of just makes you a hobo.
The hobo of the seas. But what else was announced then on in Microsoft's? I honestly don't remember.
Oh, I remember a lot of stuff. I think my first of all, it ended. Let's just talk about how it starts and how it ends. Starfield, not announced, but we got some more footage of it, and it really upset some PlayStation only fans, which makes me happy because, come on, guys, people have exclusives. Just it happens. So why are you upset about that? You have your own games. You probably didn't even care about Starfield until you weren't going to buy Starfield, but now you're really mad about it. But I think Starfield looks good. And Redfall, I thought was a super neat trailer, but it told me literally nothing about the game. So it's hard to have an opinion on that. And we saw our first footage of Euden Chronicles, the Suikoden game.
Yeah, that looked good. Yeah.
That looked good. And I think my game of as a big Metroid fan, my game of E3 was definitely replaced.
Yeah, everyone seemed to really like the look of that game, and I thought it was like, I mean, it looked good, but I thought it was fine.
Well,
Like-
here's the thing. Number one, the animation for that sprite work is amazing, and I'm assuming it's rotoscoped. But it's so smooth. And I'm just a big fan of those kind of early 90s cinematic platformers personally. Like specifically the two games that this calls back to me is Flashback and Another World. And I love both of those games.
Another World is good, yeah.
Yeah. So it's Flashback if you haven't played it. And this seems like kind of like an evolved version of that. And that is very exciting to me because with all of the indie games we see, I mean, there's a couple cinematic platformers, but nothing that looks as polished or pretty or good as this. So personally, for me, that this is probably my game of E3. Even though it's a small trailer, it looked sick.
I really liked when they announced the pit for Fallout 76. That's a great announcement. I'm glad to go back to the world of Fallout 3 in Fallout 76. It's great.
Everyone's
I like-
reaction to
I
that
like
still
seeing-
was about if people even play that game anymore, which people do. I mean, you still play it, Colin.
I wish it didn't cut Colin off during the prediction because I think we might have gotten a bingo out of that one if I should put it on
Yeah,
there.
it's so funny because I was like, yeah, Wolfenstein 3 or Capital Wasteland added to Fallout 76, and that second one is kind of right because it is Fallout 3 content. So it
Yeah.
does kind of fall under Capital Wasteland. It's just not the Capital Wasteland. But I guess if they're going to start adding locales from other Fallout games
It's only a matter of time.
276, like the Capital Wasteland from 3 really yeah, like that seems fine. I think I'd liked Stalker 2.
Stalker
that-
2.
Yeah, they did show that off.
Yeah. People seem to like Stalker 2, but I'm not into those Eurojank shooters as much as you are. Colin.
Hell yeah. Love me my Slav jank.
I'm gonna say this, and going back, Euden Chronicles was really nice, and I kind of like that it's taking that HD 2D that Square's doing, but they're all like, but what if we use 32-bit era sprites in our HD 2D?
Yo, what if it was good?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I never played what's it called?
Octopath's like
Octopath.
post processing is there's way too much.
I
the
downloaded
bloom
the
I
demo
don't
for
like.
I downloaded the demo for Octopath and I never played it. But now I own the whole game, quote unquote own because of Game Pass. That was the other really strong point of the Microsoft Bethesda thing is everything was coming to Game Pass. So anything you saw there that you even kind of sort of thought was cool, you could try it out because Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm more and more tempted to get Game Pass like every day. If I just didn't have too many games to play, like
I
to
felt
add
the same-
any more onto
Yeah,
my
I felt the
link.
same way as you do, but I don't know. I got it because it was like $1 or whatever, whatever that cheap ass
Yeah.
thing they have is. And it's so good. Like I played through like Super Lucky's Tale. No real reason. It's just that it was there.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
I mean one of a really fun night I had before pandemic set in, like ages ago, was with PS Now, where we just had a free trial of it. So we started PS Now and just downloaded a ton of random games, and we're playing stuff like Fighters Megamix and Daytona USA, just because it was there.
Yeah,
And like that's
Yo,
basically what you would do
Daytona.
with Game Pass if I had an Xbox Series
yeah.
S.
I was playing that new Battletoads game and it sucks. But you know what? I don't feel bad that I was playing it and it sucks because I didn't pay anything extra for it.
Yeah.
HDTD remake of any of the Phantasy Star games? Hell yeah, Zippo. Hell yeah.
Yeah. That'd be that would be great. I'd take
Yeah.
that.
And Dragon Quest 3 does look good, incredible.
Yeah, I think Dragon Quest 3 looks better than the Octopath games. I think my problem with 2D HD is just it looks like there's so much bloom in those games, if that's the right term for it. Like it just looks very saturated.
Yeah, that's the right term.
Yeah. So like, whereas I don't think the Suikoden Chronicles one did, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. That game is one of those spiritual successors made by the creator that's just very, very much the original. Like it looks just like Suikoden, and you're recruiting a bunch of people. It's like it might as well be.
Yeah,
It's,
it looks
it's kind of like
it actually looks like a creator not just like holding on to their old property, but actually like genuinely wanting to do something new with it, but they can't. So they gotta do something that's basically it, but not.
Yeah.
it's more bloodstained and less Mighty Number 9.
Yeah. Yeah, but all right, what else? Colin, Microsoft, was there anything there that's particular that you wanted to highlight?
No. Party Animals. I don't, man, like
I don't remember that game.
it was the game that looks like Gang Beasts.
Oh, okay.
There was the new Arcane game announced. And then
Redfall. That's one that I brought up.
Right.
The thing, yeah.
I think I actually really like that trailer and I like the style of it, but like I don't know anything. Is it like a squad based player versus enemy game?
It's an open world co-op shooter.
Oh, okay.
Is it an open world Left? So I feel like there's been a lot of Left 4 Dead likes. Is this like,
there was a lot of Left 4 Dead likes.
The new roguelites now.
Yeah, what's the new one that's the new one that's very much just Left 4 Dead? It even
Back
has
for Blood.
Back for Blood, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like that's the one that's made by ex Left 4 Dead developers.
Yeah, and then there's another one made by ex Left 4 Dead developers that I forget, but Chet Falisak is working on it, so that's neato.
Yeah, that Left 4 Blood or whatever, Back for Blood. Actually, it looked fun, and I liked Left 4 Dead, so I'll probably check it out with some of my friends.
Yeah,
but
the CG trailer was nice. The style was nice. The writing was less cringe than some of these usually get. But like, where are the video games at?
Yeah, where are the video games?
That was a problem with that was actually a problem with Microsoft with pretty much all of their AAA type stuff. Like for the most part, it was just like, yeah, it's a nice trailer. Okay.
All right, shall we go on to Nintendo then? Unless there's anything else.
One last note. I kind of respect the Guardians of the Galaxy game a little bit, even though they spent too long on it. They actually did show that the game was real and how it played, and that's more than most of the games in the Microsoft showcase did. So.
My cat is on my keyboard right now, and I think he's putting all sorts of stuff in the chat.
Oh, I was wondering why there are blank messages in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's a cameo from Spazzy's cat.
Yeah, special guest Spazzy's cat.
All right.
So
shall we
we're moving on to
then?
Nintendo.
Yeah.
I personally think Nintendo's showcase this year was the best that they've ever had.
I agree. I thought it was going to be very hard for them to top last February with Famicom Detective Club, and then they came out with Advance Wars, and that was all I needed.
I think we know now why Nintendo promoted that weird WayForward Bakugan game. Yeah, because they're making Advanced Wars 1 and 2.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure WayForward has been trying to work with Nintendo on something for years now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like, and not just you know, in the way that they work with them with Shantae or whatever, like trying to get them to publish stuff like that or promote stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty genuinely sure that WayForward has wanted to work on a Nintendo IP for a while now.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Matt Bosan's been very open about how he likes Metroid, and you can
Yeah,
definitely tell with the amount of Metroidvanias they make.
I remember.
But Advance Wars is also super cool.
Yes, I remember back when Way Forward was still making like really well regarded Shantae Metroidvania games. There were some people who genuinely wanted them to do Metroid. And then they made Half Genie Hero, which is like a Mega Man game. It's very weird.
Instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the third Shantae game is genuinely one of the best Metroidvania games out there.
It's one of my favorite
Shantae
games. It's definitely the best Shantae game. Actually, I've not played the new one yet.
The new one is alright. The new one feels like Risky's Revenge.
I
basically.
got a bundle.
Better version of that.
I got a bundle of that game with like a plush, and I had to contact Best Buy customer service because they didn't give me my code with the plush. So I'm probably gonna play that once I'm done with Shin Megami Tensei, so my Switch will be free to play that on.
Yeah, I'd say that one is like slap bang in the middle.
I do hear that people complain about it, but also like a lot of the people who complain about it like Half Genie Hero, and I don't. So maybe I'll like it more.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely Half Genie Hero is definitely the outlier of all the Shantae games because it's the only one that's not a Metroidvania.
I think I feel particularly burned by that one because I did fund it.
I think the complete edition of that game is really good. It's the base game is all right, but the complete edition
value. It's a good value.
Great.
Not a big fan of the game itself.
I think it's a good game. It's not a traditional Shantae game, but like for what it is, I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. If you're more into the Mega Man style game, I can see that. I'm
love
very particular about Mega Man. I really only like 3 of them. I don't think they're bad. I just don't. I can't get.
They're
into
not
them.
everybody's cup of tea. That's fine. But they are my cup of tea. So.
Yeah, Best Buy was selling a new game plush bundle of Shantae with Shantae plush that's on their the Fangamer website. You can still buy that, and 7 Sirens. And I guess that sold so well that Best Buy decided, we don't have any more. Let's just remove the listing entirely. And that's where that's at. Like, you can't find it anymore.
Anyway, I think we got slightly off topic there from.
Yeah,
you know what?
we got way off topic.
What was from the Microsoft conference that I was excited about? Slime Rancher 2. Slime Rancher 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually a lot. Like I feel like Odd Doodles here was saying that there's not that much for the Xbox, but I feel like there was a lot. They could have presented, especially for their own first party stuff, more actual gameplay. But I overall I liked it. And they said something about Halo. The Halo multiplayer looked fun, but it is Halo multiplayer, so I expected it to look fun.
I mean, Halo 4 and 5's multiplayer wasn't very fun.
Well, I'll say this much. I'll say this much. It's cool that they're making it free to play, so that like if the campaign's bad, that won't like drag it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that definitely happened with Halo 5. Because Halo 5's multiplayer is to tell Nan to fuck off. It's very good. It's just the actual campaign is so bad that
that's the reason people don't like that
Halo
game.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
People have been fine. People have been fine with the multiplayer, like, but it's the campaign that
a bad campaign will sink it.
That's why people don't like 343 because their campaigns are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Phantom says, "How about Advance Wars?" So
maybe we should actually talk about the Nintendo presentation.
Yeah, no, I was just getting to the chat, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Advance Wars, I think it's really cool. So I saw some people complaining about the fact that it was a remake, and honestly, for a game like this, I don't think that matters, especially when it's been so long since the last one.
The last one also was a completely different game that killed the series. So
yeah, well, like that last one didn't even. It came out in Japan exclusively through Club Nintendo.
Like 6 years later. 6 years later.
I also think that it's in when an IP is dormant for a while. Sometimes it's good to do a remake to gauge interest.
Yeah.
I think that's what Nintendo already did with
they did that with Metroid. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we got a new
Metroid. Did it with Famicom Detective Club. Now they're doing it with
Hell
Advance
yeah.
Wars.
Hopefully,
Which is a
there's
good sign
new
because-
Famicom Detective Club.
Yeah. Because
Hell
I
yeah.
mean, so this is the thing, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't finish my video before this came out because I was been making a video based on that F-Zero interview that happened ages ago now. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm slow, and like talking about like, oh, Nintendo are interested in making an F-Zero. They just would need either to have a special gimmick or would like need someone to make it.
Yeah.
And these like last 3 games have all been perfect examples of this.
It's so bizarre because you can see like quotes from the Yakuza studio because that's what Amusement Vision turned into. That they want to do a new F-Zero still.
Yeah, and I mean but this is the thing that I think with that one. Like I read that interview. And they're talking about how, or the producer's talking about, is he wants to do it, but he wants to do it in his own way. And if Nintendo have a different idea about how they think it should go, then he doesn't want to do it. Like, he wants to do it and have the full creative control over it. And maybe Nintendo would be fine with that. Maybe they wouldn't be fine with that. It's honestly hard to say for sure.
Listen, if you need a new idea to make a new F-Zero game, but also you don't want the person who wants to make a new F-Zero game to have full creative control and you want them to do what you want, which is having no new ideas, that's some like circular logic there. You're never going to make a new F-Zero game.
Well, I mean, hopefully they will make a new one if this guy is interested and if they're willing to put the time out there. But I honestly think it's a case of, I wouldn't be surprised if WayForward went to Nintendo and pitched Advance Wars. Rather than it being like how I think with Famicom Detective Club, Sakamoto went to majors and asked them if they wanted to do Famicom Detective Club. Like I think they need someone who can go and show them here's a prototype of an F-Zero game. Like we can make this to give them the confidence that they can, because Nintendo know people want it. They just don't want to put the resources of their own teams into it when those teams can be working on Zelda and Mario.
Do not. If there's a new F-Zero game, do not fucking make it like a half Captain Falcon beat 'em up.
Yeah,
please.
Make it a racing game.
People keep suggesting that because they're more in for the Falcon Punch meme than actual F-Zero. Like,
I would love a Captain Falcon spinoff, but not if there's no F-Zero.
Not the main. Not the main game. Like if you have to spend half the game like running around as Captain Falcon punching dudes, and so you can actually do like the core F-Zero gameplay. Yeah. That's not F-Zero.
Yeah, exactly. That's if we have if F-Zero's coming out every couple of years, you can throw a game like that out.
Apparently, mages went to Sakamoto for
nice.
Famicom.
That makes it really that makes it even better because
that makes it more likely that WayForward actually approached them about Advance Wars and not the other way around.
And we know Mercury Stream approached them about Metroid. So really, if you want to see Golden Sun
if you want
F-Zero or anything like that get remade, you gotta be a studio who wants to do it and go to Nintendo,
and you gotta make a product good enough to actually get their interest first.
That's right. If we want to start
Sun sounds like one that might happen. Like just looking at these, like
if we
that
want to start
style.
Yeah.
If we want to start that email campaign of getting New Blood to make a new Geist, now's our chance.
That's it. We're gonna do it. Let's revive.
That's the way to do it.
This is our Patreon stretch goal. Before we buy out Konami, we'll go to New Blood and get them to make a new Geist.
Hell yeah.
So, are we adding that to the Patreon?
That's another stretch goal now, yeah.
A new Patreon exclusive. Bam.
Yeah, I hope Majors can make 3 and 4 now. Anyway, Advance Wars looks really cool. I'm glad that it's there. I like the toy aesthetics. It matches the original sort of art style of that they were going for in the box and all that. And it's just it's really cool, and I hope it does well. I'm looking forward to it now.
It looks very, very nice.
Is that true?
Game you want to talk about?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true, Colin. Famicom Detective Club being their highest selling game. I mean, it's still a Nintendo IP. It has that Nintendo
It had the Nintendo push.
Yeah, I feel like the only game Majors has sold before that sold well is Steins Gate.
Yeah.
And that's because it has the anime push. But yeah, anyway, the other big Nintendo ones. I guess should we start from the beginning of the presentation, or do we just want to talk about our favorite stuff or key highlights from it?
We're
do we wanna do this?
we're a Nintendo channel. Let's just start from the top, and if we have nothing to say about it, we'll be like, yeah, I don't care.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll start then with Kazuya.
Yeah,
In Smash.
I'm really happy that the E3 fighter wasn't somebody boring.
Yes, same. I like to be surprised in these, even if I think I would have preferred playing as like Master Chief or Crash. The fact that it was a character that nobody was talking about.
Yeah, like more people
made it
were talking
great.
about Jin than Kazuya.
It's so funny because our Good Morning Source Gaming right before this, or maybe it was something else I was recording. I don't even remember. But I was saying, and I said it on Twitter too. Where I'm like, I don't know, like I feel like it's going to be something like maybe Monster Hunter, where it's like Sephiroth or Steve or something where we were thinking about a character from here, but we kind of gave up on it. And I didn't think about Tekken at all, but Tekken is exactly that. It's because of the Heihachi costume.
Yeah. Like, we all gave up because of the catcher, which is really weird. That feels like a bait to me. Like,
Yeah.
they put Heihachi out early so that everyone would forget about Tekken, so that they could surprise people with Kazuya.
It worked.
Yeah, like it did. It
did work, yeah.
And the thing is, I see some people, especially people that don't, understand Tekken, being all like, "Oh my god, why would they pick Kazuya and this or that?" Because, and I said this before, it's the story of Tekken isn't the story of Heihachi. It's a generational story of the Mishima clan, of the family.
Yeah, and
So
Kazuya is the protagonist of the first game.
First game, and then the boss of the second game.
Yeah,
He's the one that kind of gets the ball rolling story wise, and he's still super important.
He's essentially the main antagonist now. He actually is the main character of 2 and 7. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Kazuya is the main character of 1, and then the villain of every other game other than 2.
Yeah, him and Heihachi.
Other than 3, sorry, 3.
Yeah, him and Heihachi kind of take turns duking it out, and then Jin gets caught in the middle. So really, any one of those three makes sense. And he, like you said, he's basically the Ryu of the first game, and then he also has all the Devil Gene stuff.
And unlike Jin, whose Devil Jin is like a separate character, Kazuya's Devil Gene stuff is a part of his moveset.
Yeah,
yes.
That's which in hindsight is probably why he makes more sense than Heihachi, because he's basically Heihachi with this devil thing over the top of him.
Yeah. That's why when we did our Smash poll, we had like 60 votes for Jin, and then a single vote for Devil Jin.
What other Tekken characters were on that poll? Like Heihachi, Kazuya, Jin. Was Lars on there at all? Because he's the other main character.
Let's see.
While you're looking that up, any other thoughts on Kazuya?
First of all, I think the Scrimblow, Brimlow, and the Nick JRPG guy fans both lost, which means everybody else won. I think that's important to put out there.
Yeah. Knuckle a fisticuff.
Yeah, I think Tekken first of all has a banger soundtrack. Like
it does. It has a very
really good. So even if you don't care about the character, you're gonna get some good music.
One of his victory screens should absolutely be the slow zoom in on and like the very slow smile. Yeah. It's great. We had 2 votes for King, 1 vote for Asuka, and 1 vote for I'm gonna say this wrong. Huarang?
Yeah,
Huarang, the Taekwondo dude.
Yeah.
What a weird pull. Like not like Eddie Gordo or Nina Will, No, how okay, I mean fine. Sure. That's like
if you got a favorite character.
Yeah. Did that guy also vote for Kim Kaplan for SNK? That's my SNK rep too. I just really like Taekwondo.
I honestly, we're definitely getting a King Mii costume though, like that, or at least a Mii hat with the leopard head that goes over the top.
So here's the only thing I know for sure about you want to talk about like all content about things that are going to come with Kazuya is that there will be a spirit battle for King, and it will definitely be Incineroar.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Only thing I know for sure.
Do you think they'll also use Incineroar for Heihachi?
Because
he's got the voice. He's got the voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could use him for Heihachi unless
They
you
might
have the
use
Heihachi Mii costume, in which case then you can.
Oh
do
well, if
that.
you own it, it'll definitely
Yeah.
be the Mii costume. But I think
I
it'd be
was thinking
cute if
white-
they used Incineroar.
I was thinking white-haired Ganondorf. He even dropped Ganondorf off the.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ganondorf's
Yeah.
another option. Yeah,
Ganondorf's
Yeah.
a very similar build to the Mishimas.
yeah, like that one also works. And the Jin fight will definitely be Kazuya, but yeah. Anyway, Kazuya, we'll find out on the 28th.
Yeah, I
more
thought
about
he
him,
was
and...
he was a very good choice. The problem is that now that we're down to 2 fighters, and now that we're down to one fighter,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who it is. Everyone's gonna be upset.
Chat. People voted. 7 people voted for Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur, which is technically the same
Lee from
thing.
Tekken.
basically the same person. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love a Nightmare Mii costume. I'm looking forward. to
I
seeing
honestly
what we
think a
get.
Soul Calibur Mii costume could happen.
I'm
I honestly
thinking.
think...
I'm thinking we'll see Lloyd. If we don't
Yeah, I
see
think
Lloyd,
we'll see Lloyd as well.
if we don't see Lloyd, be afraid.
And yeah, McJRPG guy wins if we don't see Lloyd. Is what happened.
I personally want Mick JRPG guy to win, but not that Mick JRPG guy.
A different McJRPG.
Yeah.
I just want Scrimbo Bimblos and Shoot Bang Man to not win. That's the only 2.
You don't want Shooty McBang Bang to win.
I don't want Shooty McBang Bang. Actually, if it was Chief, I don't really give a shit. But
Oh, you want to be validated after like talking shit about your own Doom content?
It's not that I want to be validated. It's that I really don't want as Strong Bad put it, wave of babies. I really the Doom guy for Smash community, or excuse me, the Doom Slayer for Smash community is the worst. Like, they're really bad. and it's like, goddamn. Though don't take it seriously because this is all petty bullshit.
Yeah, I just want to put it out there.
Stupid, I don't care.
I just want to put it out there that so I made a stock icon for the Shin Megami Tensei 5 protagonist, and I decided to caption it "Retweet to scare Smash players," and I did scare a few Smash players.
I'm going to be honest. I think Crash would be a great addition. I think Master Chief would be a great addition. Lloyd, I think, is in general a good addition to Smash, but I think at this point of the pass with other content from JRPGs, it might be a little too samey, but I'd be fine with that. So I'm not too worried. I don't. Everyone here knows that Hayabusa is the character I want. I don't have much faith in that happening, so I don't really care.
Cody's got it. Francis York Morgan.
I was gonna say if Francis York Morgan got it, that'd be fucking wild. Especially after that last game. Oof.
I still haven't played that yet.
One thing I just wanna say about just general Smash speculation. That'll be very quick because I don't want to spend any time on it. Is the fact that I've seen other people and people that speculate and this and that have some that going like, okay, well, definitely the next character is going to be like a big third party, or I see this even more. Oh, it's definitely going to be like this promotional Nintendo character now. And screw off, dudes! You don't know shit. How many of these? Yeah. How many of these have you gotten right so far out of this pass?
Yeah,
but we don't know.
I feel like almost nobody has gotten anything from this pass right. Like the
Especially
first pass, a lot of people got stuff from the first pass, right?
Except for Cody, he got Pyra and Mithra. He figured that one out.
Okay,
he still cracked that code.
I went back to one of our prediction videos before this pass came out, and I had Heihachi on there, and I had Elma.
Very close.
So close.
Right, or it might have been Fiora.
It was Fiora. I did the editing for that one. I remember.
But yeah, like fuck these people that think they know that. Like, no, it's definitely going to be a first party. Like it could literally be anyone. There's no pattern.
Patch
Here.
2 has been completely unpredictable. I woke up to a message the morning of the Smash Direct telling me Master Chief was in, and then I was like, I really don't want to be awake anymore. And then Master Chief was not in, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine with being awake now. You can't predict it. Like the moment they revealed the first character was Arms, I was like, all right, all of my predictions are now out the window.
Yeah. Like, well, I wasn't expecting
Yeah, guys,
that. Right
Bill
then.
Riser for Smash. Am I right?
Yeah, and the
Keep
crazy
holding on
thing
to
is
that prediction because it could happen. At this
It could
point.
happen.
the crazy thing is that these people are saying things like, "Oh, but people are just trying to look into patterns there. It does, or it doesn't have to be a big third. It's definitely going to be this first part." I'm like, you're still looking for a pattern. You're still trying to figure out
Yeah.
a logic to why this happens, and there probably isn't one. It could be the most hype third party. It could be a promotional first party. It could be an upgrade for an assist trophy, which is something we've never seen, and I don't think will happen, but it totally could happen. You know?
Honestly, I think it's better when we don't know who it is.
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
When it's just because I really hate this idea that like, oh, Kazuya is bad because no one saw him coming, and it's like, well, it's because like the Smash community focuses on like 5 characters at most, and then we just kind of cycle through them whenever the next character is about to be revealed. Like it's like we've been hearing Master Chief since the fucking DLC was announced. Like it's not like it's
this channel has become a kind of Doom Guy Dante echo chamber, even if like the two people that made the Doom Guy and Dante content don't think they're in.
Getting in.
Yeah.
You guys make this grave.
I mentioned that it's very.
We dug our own grave.
BWS gets it with the guys, Paul McCartney for Smash. I think it's gonna happen. The Get Back movie is coming out in November. They'll probably announce it alongside the Get Back box set. I think,
so let's move beyond Smash.
Move
though.
on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got. So the next sort of new thing, I'm going to skip over the sort of third-party reel they did with Worms Rumble and Astria Ascending, which was some JRPG from some Final Fantasy people. Unless you guys have any thoughts about either of those.
Did you
I don't
pull
even
up our
remember that.
website too?
Yeah, I pulled up our website. Yeah.
It's a very useful list.
It is. Thank you, Wolfman, for that.
Yes, thank you.
So the next sort of big one would be Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, which I really wish hadn't been leaked beforehand, because
I agree.
that would have been a really big announcement. But as it stood, it was like, oh, cool, here it is.
Super Monkey Ball's here.
What's the deal with that game? It's a remake of some of the games, or like
It's a remake of 1, 2, and Deluxe, basically.
Okay.
And Deluxe already was a remake of 1 and 2, so just a worse remake of 1 and 2. But yeah, so it's got all of that stuff, but it's using the more modern Super Monkey Ball art style, and includes the characters from the more modern games.
Yeah,
So,
I think didn't Sonic and Tails somehow leak from that?
they found them on the website. So Sonic and Tails are in the game as hidden characters, and so the DLC I've got mixed feelings about. On the one hand, there's a DLC pass where you can unlock the classic skins for the characters. And I feel like that should be in the base game because this is meant to be a celebration. On the other hand, there's DLC where you can play as a Sega Saturn or a Game Gear, and that's amazing. And
I want to go back. I want to go back to the GameCube days where it would be all like Super Monkey Ball, and on the Nintendo platform you can play as Donkey Kong. I miss that shit.
Yeah, apparently according to Zippo, it's like a Sonic Mania type deal, so there's going to be new levels as well.
Oh,
mixed with the old ones.
Cool.
Which is cool. But yeah, this I'm genuinely quite interested in, and luckily one of my housemates is a super big Super Monkey Ball fan, so he's going to get it, which means I'm just going to play his version of the game.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty cool, personally. More hype than any of the Sonic stuff that Sega has shown off recently.
That is because they literally only showed Sonic colors.
But yeah, any other thoughts about Super Monkey Ball other than me spieling about it?
I think it's really funny the dichotomy that's apparently cropped up between Super Monkey Ball fans and Shin Megami Tensei fans, taking the shit out of each other. but I think there's some people taking it seriously, so that's starting to get out of hand.
Oh no. Well, let's move on then to Mario Party Superstars. And I was genuinely surprised about this. I actually was sort of being contrarian and not expecting a Mario Party to come out this year.
I was expecting
nope,
never
I was
never
wrong.
doubt Tris.
I was expecting like just straight Super Mario Party 2. This is a welcome surprise.
Yeah.
It has old maps, the best maps, the worst maps from the game, but which are also the best to play on. Spaceland. If you play me,
10 out of 10.
if you play me, Spaceland only. All items on.
I like Peach's Cake personally. I think that was one of my favorite levels in the original Mario Party. Getting something from the original Mario Party is like a miracle in and of itself.
Well,
like the most inoffensive parts of it.
Yeah, maps from the first game don't surprise me. If we see like mini games, especially mini games that they had to rework from control stick spinny mini games, that'll be interesting.
But yeah, Mario Party is fun. They said there were 5 classic tracks, like classic boards, but is it
but they
just
haven't revealed
5?
them all.
Are they saying it's just those 5? There's no new boards. It's literally just old boards, or is there 5 old boards and new boards? Okay.
If there's only 5 boards, that's going to be strange.
I mean,
that's usually the amount. That's usually the amount Mario Party games have, but like, it's weird because they're taking the boards from past titles, and I know they have to redo them. They have to redo the graphics. Those games don't look as good these days, so they have to redo everything. But like, it's so weird because they do have the layouts already defined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really see the problem with that. Like, just on the basis of like I'm sure like the Mario Party board layouts are like not the thing that they spend a lot of time on in regards to like when they make a Mario Party game. And honestly, at this point, like Mario Party is one of those things where like they could have just always pulled a Mario Kart and had half the game be like recycled racetracks, and like I don't think anyone would have given a shit. Like
they have repeated mini games in the past.
Yeah, they have. Honestly, with N-Cube's like yearly turnaround for games with N-Cube, I feel like that's really why.
Didn't Mario Party, the top 100, not have any boards?
It didn't.
No, it didn't have.
People hated that game.
Mini games. Yeah.
People hated that game because it's just the mini games. You need a good board.
Random.
You need a good board.
So apparently there's Spaceland Birthday Cake in the Woods from 3. And they said that they confirmed already that the 5 boards are all from Nintendo 64 games.
Cool.
So
those are the better ones. Although there is a really funny one from, I think it's 4, where you go around the entire match on a coffin. We played that one.
Yeah, that's the best one in 4.
That's the funniest one.
Yeah, Mr. Bones' Wild Ride.
Mr. Bones' Wild
Takes
Ride.
you along.
I mean, best case scenario, it would have just been Mario Party like 1, 2, and 3. It just would have been like all the boards and all the mini games just kind of clumped together. But like, they're clearly putting in like as much effort into this game as they would like a new Mario Party regardless.
Yeah.
I like it's really like it, I guess we're going to talk about this when we get to Advance Wars 2, but it's like these aren't just like fucking N64 ROMs with a HD texture pack slapped on. Like
the mini games we've seen so far, they've been taking literally the best ones.
Yeah.
The car one from I think 6, where you're driving through a car and then you gotta smash boulders. That one's back. That one's like the best though. Bowser's Big Blast is in there, which means I have to buy it.
Absolute classic.
Yeah, the fucking facelift minigame.
A lot of the mini games that I've been seeing have been making me happy.
So many good ones.
Is this maybe a little too soon after the other Mario Party? I mean, I know we used to have a lot of Mario Party.
Super Mario Party was like 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It feels.
No, I think it was 2019. I think.
Nope.
Nope. Definitely not 2019. Definitely not 2019.
Fair enough. 5. For some reason, I was thinking they would yearly because last year was Clubhouse Games, obviously.
I mean, like
And
like
then-
this Mario Party is like literally all that I've ever wanted out of a new Mario Party, which is just like, yeah, just take the N64 stuff, make it HD, add online play. Like, it doesn't take a lot to please me with Mario Party. They just have to not do what they've been doing. They just have to like return to Monkey, and like we're all fine.
Monkey.
Well, I actually think that the GameCube had some of the better mini games, but I've seen a lot of those mini games in here, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
we've
Yeah.
seen the good ones from there. It's
Yeah.
it's cool.
Shit, now you don't need to use a fucking Joy-Con. Now you can just play it in handheld mode. Badass.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
fixed
Did it for
the
Switch
one
Lite.
problem with Super Mario Party, and I bet, and this is Colin's lock of the week, I bet they will announce that the game has like one other thing in it in the September
Mhm.
Direct. I bet like it'll just have like, they'll just be like, here's a new mode or something.
We're bringing back the story mode from Mario
What?
Party 1.
From Mario Party 3. Mario Party 3.
You guys,
Oh,
do you guys
I've
think
not.
that
yeah.
there will be possible DLC for this in the future, or do they want to keep
Yes.
that for just more Mario?
I
Party
don't
games?
know. I feel like the fact that we didn't get it for the first Mario Party, I just feel like they'll keep it for new Mario
But,
Party.
but
The
also
This
though,
feels like a
is
best
yes.
of.
with this one they have old stuff to literally just bring back.
Yeah, like they could do like a pack of 5 more maps from like the GameCube era.
Yeah.
One map at a time.
Whatever.
I guess they could. They
Nintendo.
could do like Mario Party 4 pack where they have one map from that game and then a bunch of mini games from that game.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
I was gonna say that's gonna be really interesting to see what Nintendo determines the value of a single Mario Party board. That'll be fascinating.
Well, you know, board games are priced at this much money.
Yeah,
Therefore,
You want to buy Clue? It's this much. It's
Yeah,
$30
the,
on the
the
eShop. What are
online
you
the
talking
online
about?
just got added to Super Mario Party. It feels like a test drive to put it out there in the
Mm.
wild so that they know there are any issues that they can fix. Like hopefully
Yeah.
that's why. But yeah, if you want the new stuff, you can do that. If you want the old stuff, you can do Superstar. That's how the cookie crumbles.
I wonder if Pauline will get added to Superstars.
Probably.
like,
I wouldn't doubt
like,
it.
Yeah, because she's in all the other spin-offs now than the
She's
RPGs.
the big returning character now.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
So probably
Alright.
it's the most unexpected and surprisingly like big announcement from the E3 presentation. Metroid Dread.
by the way, I agree
They
with
actually
Ogleadle
called it that.
that I think that after Smash speculation is over, the new speculation in Nintendo for Nintendo fans is going to be Mario Party map speculation.
Yes.
I
Hell
think that's
yeah.
what we're moving on to. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, Metroid Dread.
They
Metroid Dread.
it's
finally.
both Metroid 5 and they called it Metroid Dread. And it is actually apparently the Metroid Dread that we were going to get, but the one that they tried to make 2 decades
I'm sure
ago.
Mercury's team is gonna even narratively sneak in a few of the things that they were doing before.
Oh yeah, I mean we
In
saw
the trailer-
there was
in the
there
trailer,
is a
yeah,
Kozo in it. Yeah,
You can
Yeah.
see the shoulder and like vaguely the head of a Chozo.
Ozo, yeah.
Yeah.
which is
So-
presumably the traitor. I mean, they say this is what we were planning, ages ago. I don't feel like that's quite right. I feel like it's more.
Well,
Mercury Stream had their own had their idea for a
Um,
Metroid game, and Sakamoto was like, "Let's take all of these ideas we previously had,
Yeah, and put
add them
in,
into this
combine
game."
combine it
yeah.
into one game. Yeah.
And it makes sense, though, to add the Chozo elements, because this is apparently going to be the last entry in the story of Samus dealing with Metroids. Now the titular Metroid is just going to be Samus.
Yeah. There you go.
If anybody asks why it's still called Metroid, even though the little alien creatures aren't in there anymore, Samus got Metroid DNA. There's your explanation. We're good. It's not... It's not like a Resident Evil situation where they're barely in residences anymore.
Yeah. Now, why can't Metroid crawl is a legitimate question you can ask.
Oh,
Metroid can
shit.
slide now. Why do you need a crawl if you
Name.
can slide?
Oh yeah. You
Yeah,
can slide.
it's true. It's true.
We talked about it while we were streaming, but it seems like they took pretty much all of the major criticism for the most part, that we've seen so far from Samus Returns, and they have fixed a lot of those issues. And that's great, because I had a lot of problems with that game. And aside from like my problems with the remake and how they changed things, I just had problems with like new stuff they added. And I hope that Metroid Dread does actually like play a lot better than that.
Do you think they're gonna shoehorn Ridley in this somehow?
Ridley's been cloned once already in the timeline, so
Yeah, they could clone him again.
Yeah,
It would
I kinda
be-
hope they
it would-
don't.
it would be less awful than it was in Samus Returns, because that game now makes Super Metroid make no sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think it would
if they
be-
bring Ridley back, I hope it's just like a one-note boss fight, like not even a big deal. It's just, oh, the Federation's at it again. Fuck those guys.
Federation or the Kozo, one of the two.
Yeah, I think
Well-
holding
Kozo
off on
did.
Ridley and bringing him back in full,
Oh.
but whatever. People expect Ridley.
So I do think it's interesting that this story supposedly ends the unhealthy relationship between Samus and the Metroids, as Sakamoto put it, because it makes me almost feel like they're not going to go too in depth with the Federation stuff.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like
been
they're
brought
saving
up.
that. And
Yeah.
the reason that it makes me feel it's very unlikely in this entry, and maybe even future entries, is that Samus is still fucking working with the Federation.
Well, is she working with the Federation?
Yes.
though? That didn't seem to. Is that really the case?
I'm pretty sure they're the ones who sent her to this research facility.
I'm not. I mean, from what I remember watching of it, I know it wasn't very clear, but I don't think they did send her. I think it's more like they sent those robots, obviously there to deal with the X parasite.
Let me
and
look
it
at the
failed.
website.
But Samus knows that she's the only person who can deal with the X parasites,
Let me
so
look
she
at the
just
website.
goes there of her own accord.
I'll bring up the website real quick.
Because she is essentially the last Metroid.
Looks great.
By the
Yeah.
way, the
Mhm.
last security robot is gonna have the MB AI on it. I'm calling it.
I hope it does.
I'm calling it.
Like MB would be a really good
I
recurring antagonist.
it was so funny. I typed that in our discussion like channel on our Discord, like when they were talking about Metroid Dread, like the plot and stuff, and then like everybody stopped typing, and I'm just like, I like how everybody stopped typing because they know I'm right.
Like, the way they've handled Metroid Other M when talking about Metroid Dread is very odd, because it's clearly still part of the story, but it's obviously like Metroid 3.5 or whatever.
Yes.
Like it's just sort of there in the middle. But I feel like
It's like if they release a Metroid collection like Kingdom Hearts, instead of having Other M, it'll just be a collection of cutscenes.
yeah. But like I think Other M sets up a lot of cool story details that I just really don't want them to ignore because they've set them up.
Okay, so
yeah, I don't
it
think
is not
Anthony's coming
confirmed.
back,
It is
so-
not confirmed that she is still working with the Federation.
Yeah.
But
So that's the thing. I thought
like maybe she fucking like intercepted the
Yeah.
evidence that they got.
I think that they're obviously keeping an
Or
eye
or
on the
maybe
Federation because they know that the Federation are sort of out
Or-
for them.
yeah, or
But the
maybe
X-Parasite is more important to deal with.
yeah.
Like that seems to be it. It's interesting that the X is coming back, but I guess this is going to have something to do with the Kozo
Well, I mean,
traitor thing and all that.
there's no reason for the X to not come back.
What does everybody think about her new default armor? I dig
I'm
I
it.
glad.
like it.
I'm so glad. I hated the Samus Returns suit. It looks so silly. The shoulder pads are so large. This one looks fantastic.
I think it looks really good.
it
And
looks
I never
so-
liked the
so
fusion
slick.
suit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It is slick, yeah. It gives me like Link Breath of the Wild redesign vibes, just in that yeah, we've taken the iconic suit, made it blue. And
Yeah, but they already
sleeked
did
it
that
up.
in the past. They already
Well, they
did it
did,
in
but
the
the
past.
the fusion suit is sort of
Yeah.
a bit more alienish looking, whereas
The
this
yeah,
fusion-
I'm not a fan. I'm not a
No,
fan of the fusion suit.
the fusion suit is underneath her
Yeah, I
current
know,
suit.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
'Cause
see
it's
it. You
stuck
can
to
see all
her.
the you can see all the details.
Yeah. Because the fusion suit's meant to be like physically stuck to her, except for post credits cutscenes because you still gotta have that fan service, so they remove it from it. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, yeah, I'm glad that they kept that in because I was thinking like obviously at the end of fusion she gets her old power suit back, and I was like, that's
Did they
I guess
show?
that just sort of gets
Oh
rid
no,
of it.
no,
But
no! She didn't get her old power suit back. It's the fusion suit, but with the Varia suit color scheme.
I thought it was just
No,
I thought okay, 'cause
it just
I thought
changes
she just...
color, and
Oh,
she can
okay,
use the ice
fair
beam
enough.
again.
Okay, fair
Um,
enough.
uh,
Hard to tell from
have
the
they
sprites,
shown
then.
footage of Samus like dying in this game yet?
No, they haven't yet. No, not
Oh
that.
god,
No one died during the Nintendo Treehouse stream. So
god damn. I hope the Zero suit is not back.
I'm okay with the Zero suit being around because it's like that's just now what the default Samus without armor look is.
Yeah,
it's
but
just-
like
it's
the
just
zero,
wears under armor.
the Zero suit's not supposed to exist at that point in the timeline.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'd like it if it had the little yellow splodges over it, so it was the fusion suit. She can still lose the helmet, so you can still see her hair and stuff. I guess just keep the yellow suit marks that have been fused to her body onto the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Metroid Dread looks cool. I'm optimistic about it from both gameplay and
what do you think about
story
Nintendo
stuff.
releasing a 2D game and a 3D game from the same series on one platform and expecting us to pay $60 for it, like how they haven't already done for Mario and Zelda?
That.
Yeah, we're
That
way
was
past that.
before. And that's definitely not going to happen to Kirby when his game comes
Or
out.
Donkey Kong, or
The thing is, I get it though with Metroid, and I get it with Zelda too, and Mario. I get it with all these franchises because like the different like styles have different fans. Like I don't like the Metroid Prime games. I recognize that they're very high quality, and I know they have a lot of fans, but they're too slow for me. So I just like the 2D Metroid games, and so Dread is more my thing. You guys will get Prime 4 eventually. Let me enjoy this.
Yeah, I like both, but like honestly, prior to Breath of the Wild, and I know you don't like Breath of the Wild, but we're not gonna
I don't want to talk about that.
I was getting super tired of the 3D Zelda formula, but I can never get tired of the 2D Zelda formula. So like I didn't care for like Skyward Sword, but like Link Between Worlds, just hook that directly into my veins.
I don't know,
Link
man.
Between Worlds was the
Nintendo
better game.
You
Nintendo
started the
just
Link's
doesn't
Awakening remake like recently, right?
Hold on.
Yes, I like it. But...
Guys, Colin, you overcut it. You cut him off.
Sorry.
Nintendo doesn't make cinematic third-person games. That's just it. Like it's like it has nothing to do with like, damn, I can't believe Nintendo gets away with making these games that just don't look like what I expect from like AAA third-party games. Like that's literally it. It's just like,
yeah,
they're just not making the same games as everybody else. It doesn't mean that there's inherently like less money or production or like effort being put into them.
You say they don't make cinematic games, but literally the last new Metroid game in the main series
I was gonna say
before
Other
this
M was
one
like the one
was
exception.
that.
Yeah, and it was $50, so fucking everything's out the window. Am I
right,
gamers?
between that game and Ninja Gaiden 3, Team Ninja's really good at these cinematic style games and should make more of them.
But yeah,
that game also has over-the-shoulder walking segments. What the fuck was up with Team Ninja?
I'm sure we're gonna talk about it again when we get to Advance Wars and like, damn, how could they sell these games for $60? It's just they're fucking like they're full priced video games. Like that's just it. Like I don't know what else to tell you.
They're good
I would,
money.
yeah. And the thing is, people will pay for it. People are like, "Well, Sonic Colors is $40, and the Crash, trilogy is blah 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 for games." I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing: you think Activision or Sega don't want to release it at $60? No, they want to. It's not that they're being nice. They're not your friends, and Nintendo hate you. It's that they know that their won't sell at a full 60. And Nintendo says, yeah, no, we can definitely just put port New Super Mario U onto the Switch, sell 10 million copies at $60. And
Yeah,
they
they
do.
did that. They
And
did that.
literally any other company would do that if they could get away with it. Like, that's
I
just the way the market works. Sorry.
I would agree about Advance Wars if it wasn't 2 games in one. Because
Yeah.
that's 2 full-priced games from when they released in one
It's
package,
2,
full
like,
remix.
It's 2
It's
games.
2
One of them is
full games.
yeah, one of them's 15 hours. The other's like 30 hours. Like they're like, if you're one of those people that's like dollar per hour, like you're getting it.
You're getting it,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's
Yeah.
online multiplayer. There's online multiplayer now.
I do think
Come on.
that
Online match sharing would be really
Whoa.
cool as well. For Advance
I
Wars.
do think when it comes
Custom
to
maps is
the
great.
amount of developer time that these games take, for a lot of these 2D games, and especially because there's so many high concept and high quality indie games that I don't think any of them come close to Nintendo polish, no matter what you say.
Mhm.
But still, there's so many of them that, yeah, maybe something like a $40 price tag would be something that I think would be appropriate. But the fact of the matter is, these are full quality games. I'm
Yeah.
willing to pay $60 for them.
I don't know. Here's
There's a lot of games out there that undervalue themselves, I feel like, because
Yeah, and Nintendo doesn't do that shit.
yeah.
gamers just like get a GameFly subscription. Like I know. Oh my god, people still use GameFly? No, just just rent games.
Yeah,
whatever.
If you don't want to pay $60, you
what I
can
do.
always do that. And if you say no, I want to own the game, that's your problem.
Yeah.
But just real quick, I guess, since I didn't give too many of my thoughts, I'm really excited. Like, Metroid is a top 5 franchise for me of all time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
I'm
enjoy the 2D games better than the 3D games, although I do really like the Prime games too. Super excited about this. It looks so much faster and more fluid, and the fact that you can counter while you run, all that
Mhm.
this looks like it's going to be the best playing Metroid game, because you go back to Super Metroid and it's phenomenal, but it's also floaty and slow.
I'll have to wait to see because I need to
Yeah.
see the actual map design. That's the
Of
most
course, of
important
course.
thing. Because
Of a Metroid,
Other M plays okay. When you're not forced into the over the shoulder walking segments, it plays fine. But the
Yeah.
map itself is this linear hallway, and it's boring to go through.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, and that's why a lot of people love Fusion and Zero Mission, but Zero Mission isn't as bad. But I think Fusion's pretty good, but
Mhm.
like
there-
it's too linear for me. Like,
There's no
for me.
problem. The problem with Zero Mission is that it forces the waypoint finders on you. Other than that, like, there's no problem with the level design being overly linear because it's still the first Metroid game. And even when it
Yes.
does get linear in like the new section at the end, there's that added stealth element to spice it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's not really the same with Zero Mission. But Fusion is a
Yeah.
little too much like you're just exploring one little section and then the next section, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like my Metroidvanias to be like just literally go ham, do whatever. Part of the reason I like
Mhm.
Hollow Knight so much is because it's just like there's just go anywhere, do anything. There's definitely things that impede your progress, but yeah, so that, and I'm hoping that, and I'm sure it is, because I'm sure the morph ball will be more involved when it comes to puzzle sections. But with that new slide, I'm like, ooh, I hope I still use the morph ball a lot. That's such a important
I
part
hope
of,
they bring back the morph ball button that was on the touchscreen
yes,
for
as an actual
Samus
button.
Returns.
Yes,
actual
it's
button,
so good.
yeah. And
I like
part of
the
me,
spider ball too. Spider ball is such a great.
part of
Yeah,
me,
Spider grip now, whatever.
Yeah.
part of me really wants them to bring back the diagonal aiming because it's so fast and snappy.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, and that's another thing. People are like, "Oh, now Samus can climb," and I'm like, Samus can always climb. It's not a new thing. It's just now she's not in morph ball. Like, I feel like everything they're doing is downplaying the morph ball, which is like such a Samus thing,
yeah.
you know?
I hope the free aiming is good because you can do it while moving, and I'm questioning how that works.
Second
So-
stick, man.
Second stick.
No,
yeah.
but the shoot button's on the face.
Maybe
Is
they'll
it?
move the shoot button to R or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you hold
you can map
L
it
while
both.
you're moving, and then it goes up and down and whatever. I don't know. There's a few. I thought there was a few Chozo statues that were required in Zero Mission, but that's beyond the point. We're talking about Dread. We're talking about Dread now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anything else to say about Dread? I suppose that we haven't already said.
I hope the soundtrack is good. The
Yeah.
soundtrack for Samus Returns is the weakest part of the weakest soundtrack in the series, and I really hope they do a better job with this one. And they're like, I hope it's not just like they're reusing old songs, because the reason that Super Metroid soundtrack is so amazing is it's not only reusing songs from the original game, it has its own like new and memorable tracks. And Dread hopefully will hopefully have more.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so next thing then on the list of stuff to talk about, let's sort of power through these a bit. Is Cruise and Blast, which is awesome.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
So I'm in a Discord server where we just hang out and chat, and sometimes we put music on. We have a bot that plays music, and we've been playing the Cruisin' USA theme like almost every morning. An extended version that goes on for 30 minutes. Sometimes we just put it on loop forever. And I feel like we
wake up in the morning.
I feel like we willed this into existence.
Like, ever since that listing came up to say that it was coming to Switch, I've been super ecstatic about it, and then I forgot. And then so to see it again here, I was like, oh yeah, shit, Cruise and Blast. Because I've played that game in arcades, and it is wild. Like, the actual, like, there were only like 3 tracks in the arcade game as well, and this one has like Mario Kart levels of tracks, whatever that is, like 16 or something like that, I think. So there's a good amount of content here. My only gripe with it is how like low quality the animation, like the graphics look in the game. But you know what? I'm willing to sort of put up with it for the crazy, wacky, high speeds. You can be a unicorn.
the people from the chat room are in our chat right now, singing the fucking Cruisin' USA theme. Oh, that's great. Cruising, yeah, whoa.
Yeah. So to answer Phantom's question, because I've been asked this a few times and I've said it many times now.
Yes.
Cruisin' is a Nintendo property. So Nintendo own the Cruisin' games. They licensed it out to Raw Thrills, who's made up of ex-Midway developers, to make Cruisin' Blast an arcade game.
Yeah, they gained the full rights.
Yeah,
when
it's not
Midway
co-owned
went under,
Cyberwolf.
right?
It's,
yes.
It's fully owned by Nintendo. This isn't a co-owned thing.
Yes.
This isn't like Fatal Frame or whatever. They fully own it. Nintendo just do not give a shit about it. So they're fine with just licensing out to Raw Thrills.
Yeah.
And Raw Thrills have gotten a third-party publisher to make the physical version while they publish it. I think they're self-publishing it digitally. So that's basically what's happened here. So it's still a Nintendo game. It's still going to have Nintendo's copyright and stuff in the game itself.
Yes.
And that's why I'm pretty sure that's probably why it's a Switch exclusive as well. Is because it's technically a Nintendo, like a first-party Nintendo IP.
Yeah.
But they're
fully own it.
They're not bothered about publishing it. They're not bothered about doing any of that stuff for it. But they're fine with other people doing that stuff for them.
It's also like a really cool game, so maybe they have more confidence in it than the Wonderful 101 remastered.
Yeah, I mean, if it does well, if it sells really well, I'm sure they'll gather interest in it. My feeling is that they didn't really give a shit about it. They might have even forgotten that they owned it, and then one day when Midway died, they just someone in their legal department was like, "Oh yeah, you guys own this now."
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, okay."
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and it wasn't until Raw Thrills came to them asking to use the license, they were like, "Yeah, I guess we own this. Here you go."
I don't really care about Game Mills publishing it outside of it just being like weird. But like, I mean, Game Mill puts out pretty crappy games, but I don't know. I got faith in it.
Yeah, I don't know who.
I mean, really about it. Yeah,
I saw all the other games that Game Mill publish, and like, yeah, okay, but it really comes down to the devs, not the publisher. Especially because Cruisin' Blast is already a game that exists in arcades, and Game Mill has nothing to do with. So it's really just a case of they're dealing with the physicals. And if that means that they print loads of them and it's super easy to get a copy of physical Cruisin' Blast, then Sure.
Yeah, badass. What's
Great.
this
Yeah.
shit?
Awesome. But yeah,
Let's power
cruising
through these
past
because
that.
it's been 2.5 hohours.
Yeah.
Please,
Okay.
do.
WarioWare then next.
Looks so good. I'm
Yeah,
not a big
Wario-
WarioWare fan, but the fact that there's co-op and it looks like you can use the different members of the WarioWare Inc. crew to
Yeah.
solve puzzles slightly differently, at least I think is pretty rad.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I feel like this is the sort of game that's gonna be like supported for like a year. You know, like how Mario Golf and Mario Tennis are, where they just slowly add more mini games and characters to it. Like that, I feel like WarioWare is perfectly set up to do that. You could just add a new character with their own set of mini games every 2 months or something for a year and keep it relevant. But WarioWare's cool. Like, still can't get over fully voice act Wario though. Charles
Also,
Martinet
like-
doing full lines.
It's so funny. He sounds like a bad Wario impersonation, which retroactively makes all of those Wario impersonations good, technically.
So yeah, that's that.
The next one.
Shin Megami Tensei. I don't think anyone
Megami
really cares
Tensei.
about that one.
Fuck you.
So...
All right, I'm muting the Discord. No. Shin Megami Tensei 5 looks fantastic. I wish the trailer that they showed in the direct was better because both the Japanese and Western directs went into basic RPG game mechanics, which is something that people like make fun of, and they really shouldn't have done that. I feel like Nintendo made that trailer, especially because it was the same in both Nintendo Directs. Atlus put out their own trailer, like literally right after the Direct, in Japanese, and it's so much better. It's unreal. They should have let Atlus make the fucking trailer. But yeah, it looks like the highest budget game Atlus has ever made, highest quality game Atlus has ever made. They're finally like letting the current series character designer run loose, and we've now seen the benefits of doing that because the main character design looks sick as hell, and I feel like everybody who has seen it, and like has a passing interest in these kind of games, like really likes that design. It's so striking and unique. The music sounds great so far. It sounds like they're bringing back Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne style of music because there's incoherent grunting and yelling in the battle theme. Oh god, that I bought the Switch literally only because of this game, and I'm so happy it's finally coming out. For anybody interested, I will get a link to that Japanese trailer once I'm done talking about this game. Interesting.
Right now.
No, fuck you. Interesting like thing is that I saw a lot of people in the fucking chat calling it 3D Undertale ripoff, and it's like Shin Megami Tensei is literally one of the main inspirations for Undertale, and that's been very publicly said, and that's unfortunate. I made the mistake of watching normie reactions to the direct, and
Don't do that.
People fall asleep during Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I've seen more than one person say, "So where's Persona 5?" And it's like, fuck you. No, you're getting this game. Buy this game instead. It's better. It's gonna be better.
It's weird to me that Persona like really took off in the last couple years.
You see, the thing is, they're asking for Persona 5. They're not going to get Persona. They're not going to buy it. They're just asking for it.
Yeah,
like,
if they're asking for it,
off.
they probably already played it on PlayStation.
Either that, or they're just like, yeah, they just know it's a big thing, and they're like, oh, why aren't they doing this? And it's just like, please let us have our fun.
Normie reactions are not fun. By the way, I think you edited my my audio out of the Kazuya reaction. I feel like
Okay, so
I
the
think
thing
everyone was a
is-
little quiet.
the thing
in,
is,
that one.
so Nanten used his Twitch recording for that
Yeah, I used my
stream.
Twitch recording. Yeah.
After I sent him my recording, and on our YouTube stream, the one that I did, everybody's nice and loud. The game's a bit too
Exactly.
loud, but you can hear
Yeah.
everybody. But on his, he's the only one that's loud.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I cocked up the Kazuya. It's only at the beginning. I think the Kazuya part of it.
Okay.
I think everyone was just too quiet on my end, and I think I only realized like halfway through the Kazuya reaction,
Oof.
and so I turned it up. I
Yeah,
didn't see.
because-
Yeah, I didn't see you send me your stream until I'd already finished making and uploading the video.
Oh, that's fair then.
That was why I was
It's
like,
alright.
oh shit,
It's alright.
whatever.
Reminder that all of these broadcaster programs have an option to include multi-tracks, and you should turn that on.
I do, but the problem is
Good.
that all of my shit goes to one audio device. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I didn't turn on. I didn't know.
But no, I'm just saying because that's a little disappointing because I feel like our reaction to the better ones, sadly enough, because so many people didn't realize.
No,
it
yeah,
was
like
Tekken.
the moment we saw the cliff,
the
like
cliff,
half of
yeah.
us were just like Tekken.
And then
Yeah.
most of us knew it was Kazuya pretty fast too. It's not like
I've
it was
played
really-
I've played
was-
Tekken. I know how that goes. They throw each other off the cliff. That's how
Cliffs.
that's the entire
Yeah.
series.
It was really funny because I saw on Twitter a bunch of people being like, "Oh, they faked us out. I thought it was gonna be Doom Guy," and I'm like, "Did you guys,
What?
motherfucker? What are you talking
have you
about?"
ever played Tekken?
It's like, have you ever played
or
Doom?
people were like, oh, it's gonna be
Like-
a Zelda thing. I'm like, what do you? It's Ocarina of Time Ganondorf. It's obviously nothing to do with like
Yeah.
somebody's carrying him.
Oh my god, like all you need to do is watch the Kazuya ending of Tekken 1 and you understand the entire series. That's it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I really like Heihachi's ending in 2 though as well because it's just like the same
Him
ending.
throwing Kazuya back off the
Dude,
cliff.
the king ending in 1 is like a bunch of real ass children superimposed over this awful CG render of King, like
Yes.
putting his arms up in the air like fuck yeah. And Tekken's such an oddball series. I love it.
Yeah. It's a weird ass series.
Yeah.
I dig it. quite a bit.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 looks great. I'm excited that there's a release date. I'm excited that it's this year. It's really funny that this is the big holiday game this year. And it's probably I hope it does the best that this series has ever done. I hope it breaks 1 million units sold. That
I
would
think
be
it'll-
amazing.
I think it'll do the best that it's ever done in the West for sure.
Yeah, I think
hope
so
so,
too.
too.
I'm convinced to buy it from the trailer they showed at E3, and this will be the first Shin Megami Tensei game I buy on release. So
It's going to be
both
great.
and-
good sign.
I think
Yeah.
both it and Metroid Dread are going to benefit from the fact that it could change. There's going to be another Nintendo Direct. But right now, those are the 2 big like Q4 games on the Switch for the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from Pokemon, but like that game looks so like not great that I don't
Which Pokemon game's coming out this year?
fucking
That's the Diamond and Pearl.
the Diamond and,
remake.
I know it's going to sell like 20 million copies, but
Because it's Pokemon.
oh,
But yeah, it's still a remake though, and the remakes always sell less. So
Speaking of trash, then they.
Okay.
last thing. I hope the Shin Megami Tensei 5 protagonist is the last Smash character, and I hope everyone's mad about it.
That
Okay.
is the perfect like I said, it's like poetry. It rhymes because you start DLC with the protagonist of Persona
Yeah.
5, and you end it with the protagonist of Shin Megami Tensei 5. I wouldn't even be mad.
No, I that's the base
That's
timeline.
the dream.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Plus, you would get some Jack Frost there, which is
Yeah,
the
Jack
worst
Frost.
part of
Oh, it is
Yeah.
good. All right.
They
Anyway,
announced-
let's. Shall we? Oh, sorry, Colin. go
Yeah,
on.
they announced Danganronpa and gave Phantom and I a mini heart attack when they said physical Switch exclusive, and then like 2 seconds later clarified that it's just because like that's the only way you'll get all the games bundled, and that like they'll all be separate on the eShop, which is fine.
Yes.
And then we had 5 minutes of me pandering.
The call in that.
We had the little
Power.
call-in section where they had they announced Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, also known as Fatal Frame 5, is coming to everything, which was cool. I've said before that if they bring Fatal Frame to Switch, I would kind of prefer them to do like a new game, like as opposed to port 5, because I like how Fatal Frame is like built around the Wii U gamepad. But that being said, fuck it, I'm down.
I have heard. I have not verified, but somebody told me that the Japanese Direct basically just presented this like a new game, which is hilarious.
That's funny. I'm down. I liked Fatal Frame 5 is like really janky. It's definitely the like the most unpolished of the Fatal Frame series, but I still love it a lot. Like it just tickles all the funny horror nerves that I have in my brain.
It's such a bizarre game, like knowing the background on how that happened. Like,
yeah.
And the fact that Nintendo was like, yeah, can you put Ayane from Dead or Alive in it? We really want her in there. Which also makes me think that they requested her to be in Ninja Gaiden 3.
The real question is, will they uncensor the game, or will it still have the Nintendo costumes?
Feel like it'll be uncensored.
We will see because it is possible that they overwrote the game like they fucking did with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. We will see. It'll be weird because it's multi-plat, and obviously they're not going to have the Samus outfit on like PlayStation. Of course.
So,
but it could still be censored.
Yeah, you never know. Luckily, it's just a skin, so
nobody cares.
So many people now, by the way, are saying, "Oh, Nintendo doesn't."
What?
There's no.
Yeah, Spazzy.
Spazzy, you're cutting out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Maybe talk a bit slower, just in case, like, so when you get cut out, we won't miss that much.
Oh no, I was just saying, there's so many people now that are like, "Oh, new Nintendo never co-owned that IP because it's going to other platforms," and I'm like, "There's nothing that really says that."
The Nintendo copyright is still on the trailer that Koei Tecmo uploaded that I think also says it's coming to other platforms. So, I don't know what's going on there. It's definitely a different situation from the Wonderful 101 Remastered, where Nintendo had their name completely scrubbed from that.
Yeah.
That still confuses me because according to Platinum, Nintendo still partly owns that game.
I think it might be because I'm speculating based on stuff I've heard and stuff that I've witnessed, but I think the relationship with Platinum Games is really breaking down. But they have a really good relationship with Koei Tecmo still, so they're like, yeah, we'll help you out with releasing this game.
It's weird because, like, I guess Wonderful 101 was kind of a failure.
It was a financial failure.
Yeah, but Bayonetta 2 did fine.
Bayonetta 2 was also a financial failure.
But like, it's not like.
I mean,
it wasn't Wonderful 101 bad, but it was still not
a Wii U game.
It was a Wii U game, and it was still not like it didn't perform well. And they already greenlit a third game and Astral Chain before like the Switch versions of the Bayonetta games came out and actually did better.
But I heard Astral Chain did well.
Yeah,
Astral Chain did do well. But
it surpassed expectations.
So listen. That game took half a decade to make. And it is telling that when it was first coming out, they were saying, yeah, we co-own this IP with Nintendo. And a year later, we see after Astral Chain surpassed expectations and sold over 1 million copies, that the Astral Chain either director or producer, one of those two, said, yeah, Nintendo fully owns Astral Chain. They're in charge of what's going on. And it's just like, whoa, did they just take it away from them because the game did well? What's going on with their relationship with Platinum?
Platinum Games are the retro studios of Japan, don't at me.
Wait, what?
Anywho, looking forward to Fatal Frame. Except now that it's Koei Tecmo doing the port, I hope the port is good.
All right. Next thing then, I guess, is Advance Wars. Unless you want to talk about the rest of your power.
Let me just speed through all this. I'm not going to take fucking 20 minutes. Doom Eternal expansion, Shadow Drop. I talked about that earlier in the stream.
Hooray, guys.
They reminded everyone that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is coming out next week. Bab ass. And then Rivers got his free space on his bingo card with Strange Brigade under Colin gets a game that no one cares about. Though Strange Brigade is a weird one. I've been covering like all of these like Rebellion Switch ports, and I was figuring that they would just skip Strange Brigade because people don't really care for it, and they would go straight to Zombie Army 4. They didn't. They just shadow dropped Strange Brigade. That was the other thing that was weird. They shadow dropped it, but they didn't say that in the direct. They were just like, yeah, it's coming. So review on that next week, I guess. And then yeah, that's that. Now we can move on. Yeah.
Advance Wars then. I mean, we already talked about it a lot at the start, so we probably don't need to spend too long on this. It looks great.
It looks cool. People are saying mixed things about the art style, and I get it. They're trying to go for a toy soldier, but it doesn't look, if that's what they're going for, it doesn't look, I guess, toy enough. I don't know. There's something that I agree, like it looks okay.
The toy, the shading isn't as high quality as Link's Awakening, and I think that's what you're expecting.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
Link's Awakening isn't really a toy style though; it's more of a diorama. This one I feel feels more like a board. Like, I mean, the actual like world map is a board this time.
Yeah,
you can see
the character models are what we're specifically talking about.
Yeah,
those are definitely like supposed to look like toys, and they look a little less like toys in Advance Wars. It looks a little cheapo.
Yeah, like I don't think it's bad. I just think it could probably look better, but I'm still excited for it. I'll still pick it up.
Yeah,
it looks good. Like it doesn't look bad.
Okay, and I guess unless Colin, you have anything you want to say about it?
No.
Nope. Then the last thing to talk about then, I guess, is Breath of the Wild 2.
No. There's one more thing right before that.
The Game & Watch.
So the Game & Watch, the Game & Watch, they're whatever the fuck, they're releasing that. It has 1, 2, and 4 on it. Who cares?
I think it actually looks. I'm actually tempted to buy that one because it's a fun little thing, and like having those 3 games is better than having just.
It's more than
Super Mario Brothers 1 and 2.
It's definitely better than the Mario one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because it's 3 games that are pretty radically different.
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna say this. I have the Game & Watch Mario one, and that is actually a really nifty little thing. But it's also got like
screen like the wrong aspect ratio, or like the pixels are not the right amount.
If they are, it's not that it hasn't bothered me at all. What I will say is that I think it's the best version of Super Mario Brothers is on this Game & Watch. Like it's the best sort of the little quality of life improvements they made to the Game & Watch version of this game, both 1 and 2, are really welcome.
They changed stuff?
Yeah, they added some more quality of life stuff. There's like a stage select in the game as well.
Oh, so it has content from the Game Boy Color version.
It's not like a world map thing. It's more of a from the menu you can choose which page you want to go to between levels 1, 2, 3, 4.
I guess that's cool.
Doesn't have a world map.
That's cool.
Like, yeah, I had a lot of fun playing through Super Mario Brothers 1 and 2 on the Game & Watch, and just there's a lot of other smaller things that it's been a while, so I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. But they was just like, I think if I ever play this game, I'd probably play it again on the Game & Watch as opposed to playing it on like Nintendo Switch Online or something. Because I just thought it was a really cool version.
Yeah.
If they do the same thing with the 2 Zelda games, especially Zelda 2, then that would be great.
But yeah, playing Zelda 2 without save states is an experience. I would suggest to everybody. It's not necessarily a good one, but it's one to do.
Play with save states. I played that game as a kid without them, and that was pain incarnate. So the thing I wanted to talk about.
Go ahead. That game as a kid.
Yeah. Oof. The thing I want to talk about is that they dropped a little bombshell that they just kind of glanced over. And they said that the Game & Watch exists because they're not working on any other Zelda releases.
For this year, which is
For this
fine.
year,
I get it because like I think people were. It's ridiculous, and this is what I thought the entire time, to like eat into your own sales by releasing a Skyward Sword remake and then on the same year
Yeah.
releasing like a collection of anything of
Yeah,
the N64 games.
Yeah, like why would you buy Skyward Sword for $60 when you can buy Twilight Princess for $20, which you could when Skyward Sword came out.
Yeah.
But
like, yeah,
Originally-
Twilight Princess had been out for a while at that
Yeah,
point.
but-
So
but-
it wasn't
but
a
yeah,
new release. It was.
It wasn't. It was a new release. It was back on shelves because they just released the $20 version.
Oh yeah, they did the Nintendo Selects thing, but
Yes.
people know that those are just
So
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
these
but
are all- these are all
if your
old games at this
grandma
point.
if your grandma going to a store and you see two games called Zelda, your grandchild said, "I want Zelda." You see one that's $20 and one that's $50.
well.
I'm gonna buy the
but I mean,
$20 one.
the difference here is that if you were already a fan of Zelda, the chances are on the Wii you would have already bought Twilight Princess back when it came out.
Yeah, of
It
course.
doesn't matter if you hadn't bought either of them because then you're still getting a new game. I
Yeah,
think
we're
the
talking about
difference here is that
collections and remakes are the same market. Like
Yes.
it's not a new game. There's a difference between buying a remake and a new game. And if you have two remakes on the shelves at the same time, especially if like rumors were saying, "Oh, we're gonna get Twilight Princess and Wind Waker as a package for $60," it devalues the new the
Skyward
Sword.
Skyward Sword has to be on its own. That is a game that has developed such a negative reputation that if it competes with anything else on the market, it will do worse than the Wii version. It will do worse than the Wii version.
I think that they likely have remakes for all of those games ready and are waiting for lulls.
I don't.
release them.
I don't think Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are getting remade at all. I think we'll be seeing them on an N64 online type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
And the 3DS versions will be lost forever to old time, which some people would prefer for Majora's Mask. So.
Yeah, well, I think Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, the only reason that I feel like they're confident that those are eventually coming is because they're Wii U games that are going to be easy to port at this point, because they've just been showing us that they can easily take Wii U games and port them over to the Switch. So it's more like a why would you not do it situation.
Also,
than,
there's the possibility.
anything else.
There's the possibility that now that they've developed a GameCube emulator, they can just bring over the original versions too.
Yeah. That's always possible, but I feel like if they had the HD versions, they may as well use the HD versions.
Well, there's nothing.
Even if some people would prefer the GameCube version of Twilight Princess to the HD
Well, Wind
version.
Waker, I don't know. I really like the Wind Waker HD. I know some people don't like the
so
art
do
style
I.
as much, but I think
Yeah.
it's definitely the best version of that game.
I would
Yeah.
I would like the option to have both out at the same time.
But anyway, yeah, talking about the Zelda 35th anniversary stuff, I am a little bummed that there's no like Four Swords.
Oh yeah,
anniversary game.
They can't re-release Four Swords again.
Yeah, like I'm kind of bummed by that because
release like
that would have been
minute.
neat.
You know what would have been neat and wouldn't have cut into their 3D
So
a collection of the Oracle games and Minish Cap, like the Capcom 2D games.
Yeah, I am not sure about the status of those games. I know they have a good relationship with Capcom, but I don't know if they feel like
they
it is.
They released them on 3DS not that long ago.
It was on the VC.
They re-released them,
but
I
don't think they do a collection.
No, I don't think
do
they'd do a
think-
collection. If anything, they'd remake the Oracle games.
I do think it's gonna get to a point where like a lot of these older games will just show up on like Switch Online when they add like their respective platform.
Yeah.
Same. I think
Yeah,
Game Boy Advance Online or Game Boy Online are probably more likely to happen than Nintendo 64 Online. And Minish Cap will absolutely be like a launch title for that.
Yeah, I'm actually more worried about 3DS games, to be honest. Like, because we're talking about, and you know, 3DS is it's basically it's one gen behind. It's not like hard to pick games up still.
Well, they already did Metopia. Maybe Grezzo can bring over a Link Between Worlds because they
Yeah.
literally like removed all the necessary like 3D gimmicks because they found out about the 2DS while they were making it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that and Samus Returns, I feel like should probably be available on Switch at some point.
Yeah. Here's the solution. Switch Pro is only a Pro because it has 2 screens.
Oh my god.
Therefore, now you can port.
It has
It's
two.
the exact same power as the regular Switch, but there's a
No,
second screen now.
the Switch Pro has 2 screens and 7 cartridge slots.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And one of the screens is detachable, so that when you dock the Switch, you can still play your DS and 3DS.
There you
games.
go. And then you can start porting over Nintendo Land and 3DS games and
Oh, and then we can literally get
God.
all.
perfect.
You know what? You know what? That's a stupid idea. That's a joke, but I'd be so happy.
You can release Pikmin 3 Classic, which is just the Wii U version with the Wii U gamepad controls re-added back in.
Okay, so
okay, anyway,
the
what to then?
sequel, the untitled sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Legend of Zelda: Hands of Fate. Let's go.
They said they haven't
Okay.
said the title because it's going to give away the plot. It's got to
Yeah.
be something. It's got to be something either related to past games or like The Legend of Zelda: The Princess is fucking dead.
Legend of Zelda. Oops, we killed her.
Breath of the Wild 2. Also Skyward Sword 2. That's the actual title.
Breath of the Wild 2. Zelda is no longer breathing.
Legend of Link. Zelda is no more.
Oh god, what if it is that? What if it
God.
actually is The Legend of Link?
Adventure of Link 2. No, I honestly think so. The 2 prevailing theories I've seen around this is that, well, I mean, they're basically connected. They're basically the same theory, just different angle from it. Is that the link in the sky and the link on the ground are separate links? And like,
Yeah, I don't
some
think
people
those are the
say it's
same
time
worlds.
travel. Some people say it's like possession. I kind of agree on that because other than the one screenshot where the one clip where you can see Hyrule below and you can like actually identify it from the clouds. You've basically not been able to tell where any of the floating stuff is on either the ground or above.
I do not believe those are the same worlds.
No, I don't.
I'm fairly certain.
Zelda trope.
I'm fairly certain that the Link in the sky is the hero from however the fuck long ago.
Yeah, the ancient hero with the longer
Yeah,
hair.
that's why he's got
yeah.
really long hair.
Yeah, well, Link has that long hair anyway when it's not tied up. But I think it is worth noting that every time Link's on the ground, he's wearing the blue tunic, and every time he's in the sky, he's wearing a
green tunic.
Yeah, basically.
What if it's fucking called The Legend of Zelda: A Link Across Time?
Yeah, I mean that is one of a link across time or a link between links or something.
Wasn't that the original concept that Miyamoto had?
Or a link to, a link to the past. It was you go to the future rather than the past. So you can.
Oh yeah, the Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Time.
Time, yeah. Something like that.
Pokery of Time.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it'd be really funny if like the link in the sky that you can jump to is like actually the same one from Skyward Sword, and it's actually like a direct sequel to Skyward Sword. But then Breath of the Wild, not only would it be funny because it would like actively be a sequel to Skyward Sword, but it would also still not place it anywhere in the timeline because Skyward Sword takes place before the split. So people would still be arguing. It wouldn't add anything to it.
I'm pretty sure that the Guardian armor with the long hair is not Link's actual hair.
The Guardian armor with the long hair.
Yeah, from the first game.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think it is. I think because Link ties his hair up in like a.
Yeah, but it's a really tiny, like fucking stupid Metal Gear Solid 5 ponytail, where it's just like a rat tail.
I think it's intended that he has long enough hair, but I think all the other changes are like changes enough that I could that they're almost certainly going to be different characters essentially.
Yeah, I feel like having the Link in the Sky wear green, when they made a big deal about him no longer wearing green, is like the tell that this is actually 2 Links.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I think you brought it up during the live stream, but like how Wind Waker helped sort of inspire the Wind Waker remake sort of helped inspire
Yes.
parts of Breath of the Wild. Skyward Sword HD
Mhm.
is absolutely influencing this game.
Yeah, they definitely. It was the main team doing Skyward Sword HD, unlike Twilight Princess and the N64 remakes. So they would have had to have gone back through that game and re-evaluate like the things from that game that they maybe could have done better, or the things that they liked that they want to bring back.
We saw some loft wings, didn't we? In that
I don't
No,
think
we
so.
haven't seen any Loftwings.
We
no,
saw-
but people are hoping that Loftwings come back, and I suppose that would make sense.
I think we
So-
saw some big birds that people are speculating are loft wings. like somewhere in the background,
We saw a
yeah?
a new robot thing that looks like the statues outside of dungeons in Zelda 1.
I really like that. I kind of hope I hope that's a boss, and all the bosses in the game are just based on the dungeon
The dungeons
design
from the NES
from
game.
the first Zelda game. That would be awesome.
So
I would love
mechanically-
to have more bosses that aren't Ganon.
Yeah.
I think mechanically this game has some potential. I think the two worlds trope has been part of Zelda since Link to the Past. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you see it a lot. The Twilight Realm, whatever. There's a lot of different variations of that, so it's cool to bringing that back. I think that you can keep the basic, and I feel like a lot of people think it's one way or the other, but I think you can keep the basic open world kind of do what you want nature of Breath of the Wild without sacrificing a sense of progression. Because all you have to do is make sure that nothing is locked out of your character by default. But that doesn't mean that you can't gain abilities that make you feel more powerful or help you traverse. Like if you get, let's say, a hook shot and it helps you cross a chasm really easily, and there's a bunch of places you could do that, you might be tempted to wait until you get the hook shot to do that, or at least it'll help you do that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas,
Yeah.
you could just climb up everything and it would be a pain in the ass. And
I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
I think it's better to have that to not disappoint fans of Breath of the Wild who want to be able to do anything they want whenever they want. But I also really hope that they don't just like end the progression of abilities an hour into the game again.
Yeah, I agree. And there's like I think they wanted to do that with the champion abilities, but the only one that really felt worthwhile in that sense was kind of Rivali's Gale.
Yeah, Rivali's Gale was the only one that like changes the way you play the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there needs to be actual dungeons and items and spells that make you feel like you're playing the game differently. And I think that's very feasible. It's a tougher design philosophy, but I mean, it's not impossible. It's something Nintendo could do.
2 different physical places was what they did with A Link Between Worlds, a doodle. So, it wouldn't be like out of the question if they're doing that with this too.
And that dragon shield's pretty sweet. I wonder if that's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be like
Fire.
The
a
new
spell or an
equipment.
attachment, or how it's
Looks
gonna
like an attachment onto the shield.
shield. Yeah.
It looks also like it's autonomous. Like it's moving on its own. So I don't know what's going on there, but I hope that's a sign that there's more like meaningful differences with your equipment, because essentially in Breath of the Wild you had 4 different weapon types: sword, big sword, spear, bow, and that was it. There were rarely any differences between them. And like every shield is basically just the same, except some can burn and some get you struck by lightning. I really hope that there's a lot more unique equipment like that, because the thing that made exploring in the earlier games so much more rewarding was that you got something new that was substantial and changed the way that you play the game.
Yes.
And Breath of the Wild gives you everything within the first hour, with the exception of the Master Sword and Rivali's Gale.
Yeah. And I'm not going to get into the pros and cons of weapon durability because I don't want
I don't want to
Nobody
have
does.
that discussion. I don't want to
Exactly.
have that discussion.
But the reason I bring it up, and I personally, the reason I bring it up is because of a combination of weapon durability and the fact that you don't get any new runes. Like, you don't feel like exploring doesn't really feel gratifying as far as giving you rewards. You know what I mean?
There's
Like
diminishing
sometimes you'll get some
returns.
armor. Yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah.
sometimes there's some neat armor, but besides that, you're like, it's just exploring for the sake of exploring, which
Yes.
is nice, but
That's the thing people like, but it's
yeah,
not been the appeal of most games before Breath of the Wild.
yeah, exactly. And like I
You're
said,
going on an adventure that is like epic in scale and proportion, and everything you do has like meaning and consequence. And in Breath of the Wild, it's more just like, yeah, go do whatever you want.
yeah,
You know,
That has
like,
that has its appeal to it, absolutely, but it's a different sort of appeal to the
yes,
traditional Zelda. That's why my one hope in Breath of the Wild 2 is they find a nice middle ground between that.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah,
I wouldn't want them to take away the ability to like go anywhere and do
yeah.
anything from the start, but at the
It-
same time, like my big example in the first Breath of the Wild for unrewarding the player is getting all the way up to Mount Lanayru, I think it is, where you fight the
Yes.
dragon or whatever, and then you
Yes.
get like rewarded this spear, but then the spear will break in like
Yeah.
5 uses, so
It's
it doesn't
like-
feel like a reward at all.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, that sucks.
The biggest one in Breath of the Wild, where it's just like, why the fuck even? Why would you do this? Is you beat all the shrines, you get all 120 spirit things, whatever. You go to the final location where it gives you like a waypoint to go. And then your reward for doing every single Sheikah challenge is this piece of shit joke armor that's worse than the plot armor. Oh my god.
I mean, that's more of a like fun little reference.
It's a fun
that's
little
Tunic of the
reference,
Wild,
but
isn't it? Yeah.
it should be like a meaningful reward for doing all of that much. Like I get the Korok seeds, whatever. I don't care anymore about that. But doing all the shrines is much like, it should be like this grand feat, and you should be rewarded with something like amazing, and you just get something that looks terrible and is less functional than the actual suit that the game just gives you during the plot.
And another thing is due to the limited character design, like you don't even explore and find like cool bosses and challenges to fight. It's just more Lionels and
every weapon, every enemy aside from like choose and whatever have to be able to drop something for you.
Yeah, like and I hope they bring fishing back, like just actual fishing pole fishing. I love fishing in Zelda games.
Doodle, when you fully upgrade the champion's tunic, it has the highest stats of any tunic in the game, higher than the Tunic of the Wild. You just wear it with some earrings, and you're the strongest you can be.
Okay, let's wrap
Yeah,
this up.
yeah. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I agree. We've
But
gone off.
Okay.
that being said, I think I do adore Breath of the Wild, and it's got just a great engine and world to build off of, and I just hope they build off of it.
Yes, I hope there's more non-standard enemies, and I hope that there's a better sense of progression and growth.
Yes, and sweet new abilities and stuff. I think it looks good though. I think we didn't see much, but what we did see, I liked.
Yeah. No, we've been talking about Breath of the Wild too. Don't worry. We've just been interspersing it with criticisms of the last game. And things we like. Some people other than me have been praising it.
Yeah, I love the sense of exploration and just and the actual world. Like it's just it was very much you could tell a big endeavor for Nintendo to this world. But now that the world is here, fill it with stuff.
Yes.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Then.
E3 was very eventful for one single day. And that's why we took 2 hours to talk about that. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode of Good Morning Source Gaming. It's a bit random and sporadic, but we always are like this. If you liked this video, or you just like what we do, we have a Patreon. It's in the description. You can support us there, get access to our patrons only chat, join us on videos if you donate to the $20 tier, and you can also suggest videos we make, and if we like your suggestion, we might do it. Please suggest Quiet Man all content so I have an excuse to do that. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.